Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aso, this is Aso Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be getting a pep talk from your higher self. I felt like this was what was needed right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into what we're gonna be looking at today. It's gonna be pretty straightforward using the deck that you choose and other decks I have chosen to supplement. We are going to start by looking at what aspect of your life your higher self wants to talk about. So this will be the energy check portion. If the topic being talked about is not relevant to your life or not something you need to hear about, then that is not your reading. But if it is, you found the right one. Obviously, you can pick more than one if you feel called to, and if you need to troubleshoot and try one pile or another, that's absolutely fine too. Then we're going to move into what your higher self wants you to know about this topic / themselves. I just left that kind of open to see if they wanted to come through with anything. And if you're unaware, your higher self is just the most evolved version of you. It's the soul version of yourself. It's the aspect of self most deeply connected to the greater universe at large. It's the most wise and unconditionally loving aspects of yourself. So after we look at those, we're going to just go deeper with the tarot and get encouragement on facing this topic, just things in your life in general. We're also going to have your higher self address any fears or concerns that you've been having and just see what they want you to know about that. Then we are going to look at how your higher self wants to connect with you. So you don't have to do this, but if you want to connect with your higher self on your own without me, how dare you? Just kidding. That they'll be giving guidance on that. And then we're just going to finish the tarot portion off by looking at how you can stay aligned with your highest self whenever you feel like you're wavering, or just any guidance to help you stay centered and just feel good about where you're headed on your journey and feeling connected to the most loving, nourishing, evolved parts of you. So then I pulled some cards for each group that are going to represent crystals, flowers, animals, and scents that your higher self may already be showing up in or will show up in. They will serve as both guidance and also signs that you can see your higher self in, or just synchronicities necessary to know that the reading is for you or that you're on the right path. Kind of just take those how they resonate, and then we'll finish off with a guidance message from the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. If you are not a woman, that does not mean you cannot get messages from this. Everybody has feminine and masculine energy, and I think that this deck is so awesome for just getting healing guidance on self-love. So we're going to use this as guidance for just loving yourself and how you can be kind and compassionate to yourself moving forward. So yeah, just letting all y'all know, this is not segregated by gender or sex. Anyway, that's what we're going to be covering today. We have 3 different groups for you to choose from. Starting with the first group, we are going to be using the Moonchild Tarot, and I have this clear quartz point on top with some rainbows in it. And then for group number 2, we are going to be using the Crystal Power Tarot. I love this deck. And I have this yellow fluorite point on top. Also gonna burp, I think. That was such a weenie burp. Then finally, for group number 3, we are going to be using the Pastel Journey Tarot by Vanessa Samina. Many of you probably know and watch her. Shout out to her. And if you want to get this deck for 10% off or any other things on Vanessa Samina's site, it's called Bow Life. I'm pretty sure my code is ASO10. It will be linked down there if you're interested. But yeah, not using this deck to plug it, using it because I like it, but just letting you know. And I have this Amethyst aura coded point on top. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. Like I said, it is absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. And if you are, it could be that you have multiple messages, or it could be that you need to rule one or another out. But with that being said, shout out to my intro squad. Definitely comment a rainbow if you're still here. We are going to make our wish now. And so we're going to make our wish on one of my Lovers candles. This is part of my tarot candle line. Once again, I do have a discount code if you're interested. If you use code ASO10, you will get 10% off on this candle or any candles on Angelic Magic 888's site. Obviously, I love her candles. I use them all the time. And the cool thing about my tarot candles is they all come with a mini tarot card on the inside. So whatever the mini tarot card is, that will be our mini message for everyone who came to the intro squad, and we will make a wish together. And with the Lovers, there is a special little rainbow charm. So, ooh, okay, let's just appreciate how pretty she is. And we've definitely got a clear message with this bad boy. But can we just appreciate how gorgiana she is? Okay, so if you want to go ahead now and pause the video, or just take a second to focus on the candle and just set the intentions for what your wish is. I think the Lovers candle is great for this because the Lovers is all about unity, and this reading can be a process of unity where you come more deeply into not only your body, but connecting your body to your spirit. So I love that, and I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to take a second now to just focus on my wish and what I am wishing for. May yours, mine, and all of our wishes come true. Also, can we just admire natural nails? I'm a natural nail girly right now, and she just like matches the candle so well. I don't know. I love that. Okay, let's get into your mini reading. Meow, 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 meow. Oh, I'm messing up everything. I'm gonna have to look at the camera. Anyway, I'll do that later. Okay, we have the Seven of Swords here. So I definitely think that this reading came to you at the right time. I feel like the biggest thing here is your mind may be creating a situation that is more stressful than necessary. I just heard looks can be deceiving, and I definitely feel like your mind may be creating a lot of stress and a lot of panic around things that may not necessarily be true. If you're dealing with any self-sabotaging tendencies, I feel like that's kind of being highlighted here as something that you shouldn't beat yourself up or shame yourself for. Like, that's so normal. But for a select few of you, if you saw this card and you thought of someone that you don't trust, I feel like this is a confirmation to be cautious and careful with your energy around this person, because you may be correct. The Seven of Swords can talk about things like betrayal and deception. And so if you felt intuitively like something is off with someone that like, you know, maybe things are not to be trusted, or maybe you should just be careful, I would take that as confirmation of that. But of course, this is a mini reading, and you know, I don't want to, like, if that stresses you out or makes you feel like, oh, I'm not suspicious of anyone in my life, like, that's not your message. If the message is for you, you would have already had someone in mind, and when you saw that, when you saw the Seven of Swords, or when you heard me talk about it, someone immediately came to mind, and like alarm bells were going off in your head, like, okay, yeah, this is about them. But I think more than anything, this message is about not letting our thoughts be the truth of what our reality is. I would be willing to bet we're going to focus on this a little bit in the reading today. But it is important to remember that our thoughts are not the truth. And if you've been struggling, especially with, you know, negative thinking, or just thoughts that are really discouraging for you, or just thoughts that make you feel like you can't do it, things can't change, or, you know, you're gonna fail, I just want you to know that that's not only not true, but your mind is playing tricks on you. Your mind is deceiving you. So I want you to know that things are probably much better than you're anticipating, and you're probably being way too hard on yourself. And so if you could do one thing, maybe forgive yourself for, you know, being so hard on yourself. But more than anything, I feel like this is a beautiful sign that things are better than you think they are, and things are unfolding in a more beautiful way than you can imagine. But like I said, for those select few of you, definitely do be careful about who you are sharing your time and energy with. And for all of you, definitely make sure that you're paying attention to how much agency and space you give to your mind to create stories and tell you how the world is and how things are, because more often than not, those things are not the truth. And if they are creating beliefs or feelings within you that are uncomfortable or stressful and making it hard for you to be present and live your life, those are definitely unhelpful thoughts, and they don't deserve to take up space in your brain. So that is our mini message for today. Thank you for joining me. I love you, Intro Squad. If you don't want to comment a rainbow, feel free to comment something else like a sword. Comment your favorite emoji. I don't care. I'm just grateful to have you here. But with that being said, we are going to go ahead now and get into the readings. Everything, as I already said, is linked down below. And once you have picked your pile or piles, I will see you in your reading. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the clear point, I have forgotten words. This is going to be your reading. Let me make sure that's in the yay. Okay, it is in the yay. All right. Welcome to your reading. This is a pep talk from your higher self. So, using the deck that you chose, which is the Moonchild Tarot, what an excellent choice. I must say all the piles are excellent choices, but that's because I have excellent taste in decks, and you have excellent taste in readers. That being said, we're going to go ahead and start shuffling. If you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro. But over here with this Rainbow Oracle card, we're going to shuffle a card to represent what topic your higher self wants to talk to you about. So if this topic is not relevant to you, then this is not your reading. But if it is relevant to you, then you have found the right reading. And then I will also be shuffling a card to see what your higher self wants you to know about this topic / themselves. And if you are unaware of what a higher self is, it is essentially just the most loving, evolved version of self. It's the soul aspect of self. It's the aspect of self that has the most awareness, the most wisdom, the most compassion. Your higher self exists mostly on like the 5D, but you know, how connected we are to our higher selves really depends on what action we're taking in our own personal lives in order to connect with them. So we'll look at some of that today too, and just see how you can connect with them and things like that. But we're gonna go ahead and just start by asking Pile 1's higher self, what aspect of Pile 1's life would you like to talk about at this time? What topic would you like to talk to your human self about? What topic would you like to talk about for Pile 1? Okay, so we have that. And then I'm also, just while we're here, and what do you want Pile 1 to know about this topic / yourself? How are you coming through, and what do you want Pile 1 to know about this topic? Want Pile 1 to know about this topic. Okay, so we'll shuffle the rest later, but let's go ahead and start and see what topic your higher self wants to talk to you about. So, wow, okay, we have the universe. So this is the world card, I believe, in this deck, and we have a side boob that unfortunately we can't enjoy because YouTube doesn't know how to have fun. But we have, you can't find your goodness because you lost your heart. Okay, so it seems like this group is going to be for you if you've really had a lot of trouble embracing your life and being present and feeling good and feeling grateful. That is a totally normal and understandable thing. And one thing I do want to mention is you cannot enjoy life and still be grateful for it. I think sometimes, like when we're talking about things that really stress us out or things that we're dealing with, we almost believe that by talking about our struggles, we're somehow ungrateful, and that's just not the case. And so one thing I think your higher self wants you to know just straight up is you should give yourself a little bit more grace, and also recognize that like you're not a bad person for just being able to perceive aspects of your reality that you wish were different, or aspects of the world you live in that you wish were different. If you've been feeling especially burnt out, or like if you've reached a point where you've come full circle, like let's say for example, you've had a significant event recently, like a graduation, or, you know, like just a significant milestone in your life. And maybe you thought you would feel different once you reach this point and you don't. Or maybe you thought that you would have, there would be more of like a definite emotion. Like maybe you feel like you've reached a certain point in your life and you thought that you would feel different, or you thought that things would be different. It could also be too that you're just aware of the fact that there are many aspects of self that you're out of touch with right now. Maybe you feel disconnected from the universe at whole. Maybe you feel like you're not able to enjoy and appreciate your environment as much as you used to. Or maybe you're just feeling like, I don't know how to embrace my life journey. I don't know how to embrace the future and what life may look like moving forward, because I'm done, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Or maybe you're just frustrated that like you can't seem to enjoy life as much as you want to, or savor it and be present as much as you want to. Like the fact that we have the universe here, I think is really significant. Technically, this would be the world card in a different deck, but this is a card of completion and a card of coming full circle. And I definitely think that there are parts of you, especially parts of you that feel very deeply, and that the emotional parts of you. I was thinking about, like, the reason I paused is because I was thinking about like emotional memories and how, you know, emotions can make memories more vivid or make our experiences more powerful. And if you feel like something's been off, or you've just kind of lost a part of yourself, I definitely think that your higher self is bringing up the fact that you're going to lack a feeling of connection when you are disconnected from your heart. Now, that doesn't mean you're heartless, which, like, I will say I was listening to Heartless by Kanye West right before I started this reading. And I would be willing to bet for some of you, you may feel like, man, maybe you've come a long way in terms of your healing, or you've evolved a lot, but there's just still parts of you that you don't know how to integrate, or you just feel like, I should be healed by now, or I should be at this different point, and you're not. And maybe you feel like there's something wrong with you, or like, why can't I seem to enjoy things? Why can't I seem to feel as connected? And I think what your higher self is bringing to your awareness today is that you're going to feel a lack of connection with the greater universe when you have a lack of connection to your heart space. And I think that it's not something to beat yourself up for being disconnected from your heart space, because it takes a lot of strength to stay connected to it. I mean, feelings are data, and they tell us things that are sometimes very uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to deal with things like heartbreak. We have to deal with things like trauma, and we have to do what we have to do in order to survive. And sometimes that means shutting our feelings down. Sometimes that means avoiding them. Sometimes that means, you know, choosing survival over well, I don't even think it's choosing at that point. It's doing what you need to survive. And I think that your higher self is definitely coming through to be like, you know, your inability to feel, or your fears around feeling, or reopening yourself to your heart space, are not things that you should be beating yourself up for, or feel like, you know, make you flawed or wrong or bad. They are just aspects that are coming into your awareness to let you know, hey, reintegration of these things could allow for a much deeper experience and help you feel connected. Because I mean, think about it. Your heart is the reason why you're alive. Like it is what beats. I mean, obviously your brain and a bunch of other shit is important too, but like, let's just focus on the heart, right? You know, the heart is what connects us to our feelings, and the heart is an important part of our discernment process, because there are just things that the heart can discern that the mind cannot. You know, the mind can be convinced of things that the heart knows is like, yeah, that's aligned. Yeah, that's not aligned. Yes, that's compassionate. Yes, or no, that doesn't work for me. And so I feel like your higher self is coming in to let you know that there's either some heart healing that is coming in, some heart healing that you've been going through, or if you've been feeling disconnected from life and just like, I want to feel more, I want to feel like a part of this universe, or I just want to feel like, rather than like you're isolated outside of it and you're separate, to just really feel your human experience and feel, you know, what it is to be you and your body in this moment in space and time, and embrace that for what it is. So let's go ahead and see what your higher self wants to say about this. I guess to summarize, this reading is for you if you've felt like you're having trouble being present, you're having trouble connecting to your emotions, you're having trouble enjoying things. You may have an awareness that there's a lot more out there for you that you can't seem to perceive or trust in because, you know, you feel disconnected from parts of yourself. I definitely think if you feel disconnected from your emotional body or from your heart space, this reading is for you. And also, if you have reached a significant milestone or you've come full circle and you just feel like, okay, I think I'm ready to face certain aspects of self, I think I'm ready to reintegrate things, I think that is coming to the forefront. And also, there is just an energy here of you not just watching your experience, you not just reflecting on your experience, but being a part of your experience in the present where you're feeling it and you're here and you're not just like detached from your body in a way where you're like observing things, but you're not really, you know how a lot of people are here, but they're not here. You know what I mean? I feel like you may be experiencing that a lot and just kind of feeling like I want to be here, but that's very challenging. So let's see what your higher self wants to say. So we have the King of Pentacles and we have I am confident. Okay, this is really awesome. And I'm actually going to read this King of Pentacles because I think that this is your higher self. But the biggest thing that your higher self wants you to know is that you are not the you that you were when these like troubling, challenging, traumatic things happened that made you disconnect from your heart space in the first place. I feel like your higher self wants you to recognize how insanely fucking badass you are. And also, one thing that your higher self wants you to know is that you are more than capable of protecting yourself and being a source of support in ways that maybe you haven't in the past. I feel like your higher self is wanting you to know that you've grown a lot, and I think that you underestimate how much you've grown and how capable you are of facing challenges as they come, and also how capable you are of feeling fear and doing things anyway. The fact that we have this I am confident here, I think there's a part of you that may be feeling like you're missing out on life, or you've been kind of holding back out of fear of being hurt again. It's like maybe you've reached a point where it's like, okay, I'm comfortable within myself, and like I have this sort of baseline, but now I feel the urge to expand, and I'm really scared of that because what if I regress? What if I go back to a version of myself that I don't want to be anymore? What if I'm hurt again? And I feel like your higher self is really coming through to say that all of the challenges that you've been going through have been there so that you can reach a point where you can handle your challenges with grace and handle uncertainty with an awareness of, I may not know what I'm going to face, but I'm confident enough in my abilities to face them and know that I'll be okay. I really want to we're going to grab the guidebook, and I'm going to read the King of Pentacles because I think that this is a very good representation of your higher self. And the more you resonate with the description of this King of Pentacles, the closer aligned you are currently with your higher self. And also, this energy is something that I think you are meant to ground and step into. So even if you don't resonate with these energies as being energies presently in your life, I think these are energies that your higher self is wanting you to know that not only you have, but that they want to help you integrate. So Moonchild Tarot, lovely, lovely deck. Okay. The King of Pentacles stands strong and rooted in their power. This person has refined their wisdom down to a sense of methodical reason, seeing the world around them as a place of beautiful opportunity. This abundance of insight is reflected in the golden backdrop of this image, the opulent adornments that decorate his wear, symbols of fortitude and great determination. I think fortitude and great determination are important here. The King of Pentacles is an accomplished individual who thrives on living life to the fullest. Their notions of success are grand and ambitious, and they often follow a streamlined route to their goals. This person has likely refined their wisdom down to a strong sense of material stability, while always being mindful of their own foundation. This is a place of power and strength. The King of Pentacles adores the opulent riches of the world and doesn't hold back from exploring its beauty, whether through seeking physical prosperity, the natural landscapes of the earth. There is also a stable, pragmatic diplomatic energy in this heart that exudes warmth and loving care for others. The King of Pentacles encourages us to think big, follow our dreams, and believe that anything is possible. This speaks of an intuitive strength that takes nothing for granted and seeing the rich opportunities in life. And keywords are security, reliable, supportive, discipline, and power. And questions you can ask yourself are, how can I enforce my focus to rise to new heights, and how can I celebrate the beauty of this world? And I think that is a big key here. So part of your frustration may be that you're trying to manifest things that don't seem to be coming to fruition, or the things that you have been creating don't seem to be nourishing your heart space. I feel like one of the biggest things that your higher self is coming through here to let you know is that you can't be detached from your experience or half in. I don't know what the right word to use is there. Like, instead of being all in, you're like half in to your manifestations. If you have that attitude of like, well, I want this thing, I want to have this experience, but I'm afraid I won't get it, and I don't want to be disappointed if I don't, so I'm only gonna like half want this, and I'm only gonna half work towards this. There's a real message here that your higher self is coming through to say, is that life will truly start happening to you when you put your whole heart in it, and when you actually admit and affirm what you want for yourself. Like, not lying to yourself and telling yourself like let's say, for example, you want to manifest a partnership. Well, it's going to be really hard to be in a loving partnership with another person if you're disconnected from your heart space, first of all. Second of all, our heart center is where we feel abundant, and it also is the most powerful form. It's the most powerful manifester we have. And so if you've been feeling like, oh, maybe these things just aren't meant to happen for me, you're right and you're wrong, in the sense that I think things aren't happening for you because your heart isn't in it right now, and therefore you're not ready to face what the universe is trying to bring you. Well, I think you are ready. It's just a matter of you having the courage to feel the fear, or feel, the complicated emotions that can come with being uncertain about our future and being uncertain about what's coming. But whether you're already in this King of Pentacles position or not, that's where you're meant to head. And I feel like your higher self is coming through to let you know that you are one tough cookie. And I don't really say that phrase, so that may be more significant to you. But these trials and tribulations aren't here to just make, like, you're not on the Truman Show. Like, you're not, your guides and the universe is not observing you from a distance, just laughing at your foibles and laughing at your failures. The universe wants you to succeed as much as you do. But I do think there is a part of you that doesn't believe in yourself. And I think it's the part of you that doesn't believe in yourself is the part of you that's disconnected from your heart. One of the most powerful and compelling aspects of underdogs and people that we want to root for is that they have heart, they have spirit. I never watched this movie, but the football movie Rudy could be significant to some of you. I've never seen it, but I know that it's like about a little guy that wants to play football, his heart's in the game. Yu-Gi-Oh! What does he say? What does he say all the time in that show? That you have to trust in the heart of the cards, right? Pun intended or unintended. But essentially, what your higher self is letting you know is that your manifestations are coming along well. And in fact, you can be more open and present and grateful with your, and that word grateful is coming through. So maybe practicing gratitude could be a good way to help you get in your heart. But the biggest thing that your higher self wants you to know is that everything you're seeking, you can have right now, by just actually feeling it and embodying it and trusting it to come to you. So I think one of the biggest things that your higher self first is asking of you is to take a look at where you're at right now. Where did you come from? Like, if for a lot of you, you've had a significant milestone, can you just feel into what that feels like? And even if that feeling is like, I thought I would feel different, or I thought this would be more exciting. Even if it's not, just embracing what the feeling is and being present with that and sitting with it. I think that's important. But I think there's also a part of you that is used to being disappointed. And I think the universe is saying there's kind of some walls that have been blocking you off from that are in your heart space that have been preventing you from feeling more confident and trusting what life wants to bring you, and taking steps of expansion that have maybe made you nervous, and in putting yourself in positions where you may need to be vulnerable, where you may need to take a risk, where you may face rejection, where you may face uncomfortable experiences, and know that you can face those things and be okay. Because when we wall ourselves off from feeling anything, it really cuts us off from our own magic. And I think that your higher self is coming through to say that the only thing that can stop you from getting where you need to go is your own doubt in yourself and an unwillingness to engage with life. And the thing is that you're already engaging with life. It's just that there's a part of you that seems to not be fully in it, because there's a part of you that's afraid of what might happen if you were, what if you're hurt, what if you're vulnerable, and you look stupid, or you fail, or something like that happens. And what your higher self wants you to know is that it's okay if that happens, because not only can you handle it, but whatever failure or rejection or shut door comes your way, it's just leading you to the yes, to the approval, to the next doorway that's actually meant for you. I think there's a part of you that has a hard time trusting in the path that your heart is guiding you in. And, in the words of our Lord and Savior, words of our Lord and Savior, in the words of our Lord and Savior, Cinderella, she says, a dream is a wish your heart makes. And so if you're trying to find dreams that you're attached to, and then you get there and realize they don't feel that great, and that's not what you actually wanted, then those weren't dreams that your heart made. Those were dreams that your ego made, or that, you created. But those heartfelt dreams, those heartfelt manifestations, it's going to be a lot harder for you to be guided to those things. It's going to be a lot harder for you to bring those things in when you're not in your heart, which I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but I feel like the biggest thing that your higher self wants to stress is that you are not only able to face the challenges that come your way, but by being present in your heart space with those challenges, you will not only have more appreciation for yourself, because you're going to be like, wow, like, I can't believe I can handle all this. Like, I can't believe I can hold space for these things and move through them. But I think you'll also just have a lot more compassion and love for yourself, because you're going to realize, like, wow, like, I'm able to carry myself through so many different things. And there are so many beautiful things in front of me right now that I haven't seen because I haven't been willing to feel it. Gratitude is a feeling. And so you can think about how grateful you are about things, but it's not the same thing as like the feeling of gratitude of like knowing that you're, like, for me, like, I feel gratitude knowing you're here and watching, and I get to share this message with you. And, you can feel gratitude for the seat that you're sitting in, or the beautiful picture that's hanging on the wall, or whatever makes you feel. I think that is a really important thing here. And overall, it just seems like your higher self wants you to know that you are more than capable of handling the challenges your way. And if anything, you do yourself a disservice by not trusting yourself and not believing in yourself, because you're actually a lot more capable of manifesting or bringing about what you want than you realize. And I think it's just a matter of you actually, it's like the last little thing that needs to be in alignment is just like feeling it in your heart, feeling what you want in your heart, feeling what it'll be like when you have these experiences, and also just giving yourself more compassion and more grace and more love, and being in those feelings. That will help you be present. That will help with that kind of like maybe disappointment that you've had around, maybe things not feeling the way you thought they would, or accomplishing things and then realizing, oh wait, I don't think this is what I wanted. So now your higher self is saying, okay, we've learned lots of lessons. We've come full circle. Okay, now let's bring our heart into it, or do what we need to do to start feeling safe with our heart, and feel like, okay, like, our heart can be open and vulnerable, but we can still protect ourselves and be strong. We can be discerning. We can take ourselves out of a situation, and we have what we need. And if we don't have what we need, we can trust that the universe is bringing us what we need. I feel like the biggest thing you need is more confidence in yourself, and the recognition that you fucking got this. You've got this. I don't care what your goals are, what you're trying to do. If you're simply just trying to be more grateful and more present in your life, you've got that. And not only are you capable of doing that, but you're going to reap so much more abundance, because like the flow of abundance is based in love. It's based in the heart. And so I feel like you're going to find that your manifestations are just like coming through like wildfire, and like things are just going to be, if you felt like things have been slow, if you felt like things have been stagnant, or you've just been kind of off kilter, like this is exactly like it's that reintegration of your emotional body and your heart space, and creating more space for that is going to allow you to get in alignment with your highest self and bring about the changes that you've been wanting, and facilitate, you know, the shifts necessary to take you on your next steps. You're more than ready for whatever is coming your way. And also, I think one thing you need to know is that you are worth everything it takes. Like, I feel like you may feel like the universe is going to withhold your manifestations, or withhold what you're wanting, or withhold, you know, your true dreams, because like, what if I don't deserve it? Or, you know, what if someone else needs it more? And it's like, listen, the dreams in your heart are there for a reason. They wouldn't have been planted there if there weren't seeds that are ready to grow there. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go deeper into the tarot. I hope that's resonating. I feel like, I know I've repeated myself a lot, but I think, you know, maybe you've been repeating the same things over and over, and you're wondering why. Like, why does this keep coming through? And it may be that you need to build the skill of, you know, listening to your heart, listening to your emotional body, seeing what it's telling you, because I think it's going to add a richness to your experience that I think you've been missing out on. It's like, you know, when you have a really tasty dish, but it's missing an integral ingredient, so the whole thing just tastes off. It's like, that's the essential ingredient. And like, that's kind of the key here, that your higher self is saying, hey, you know, we're not saying that these dreams aren't meant to happen. We're not saying that you can't do it. We're not saying that, you know, there's something wrong with you. We're just saying this is what needs to shift. And there's a whole lot that's actually right, and that we want you to feel the full breadth of the experience. We don't want to bring you these experiences and you only be able to like be half present with them, or half enjoy them, because you're cut off from your emotional body. So I want to start by looking at encouragement from your higher self, like around facing this. So Pile 1's higher self, what encouragement do you want to give Pile 1 about stepping into their emotional body and creating more fulfillment? What do they need to know at this time? There's also a message here as well to have more confidence in your ability to sell yourself. Maybe in a literal sense, but it could also be in a figurative sense. Like if you're up for a promotion, or if you have like interviews or something like that, I feel like you're really just being encouraged to believe in yourself. Like, I think one of your biggest problems is the fact that you don't believe in yourself, and there's a part of you that doesn't trust yourself to like be able, you may feel like you'll ruin good things, or you're not worthy of good things, or if you have them, you know, you'll squander them, and that's just not true. And I think actually what you'll find is that when you're in your heart space and these beautiful things come to you, you're going to treat them with care and grace and gentleness, because you don't, not only do you not want to lose them, so to speak, but you also know how to appreciate them. You'll enjoy them. You will have gratitude for them naturally, and your actions will reflect that. I feel like there is a part of you that just feels like the rug is always being ripped out from underneath you, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. Or maybe it has happened to you a few times in your life, and now you're just kind of on high alert for that experience and for that happening. And I think the universe is saying, like, we need you to get off the rug. Like, yeah, that rug is not for you. You're meant to be moving. You're meant to be going in this direction where there isn't a rug at all. There is your 2 feet in the ground. Like, yeah, that rug is going to keep being pulled out from underneath you if you refuse to get off of it, and it's, you know, not your rug. I don't know. Take that as it resonates. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I know what it means, but it's also like, I think that there are things that are more stable than you realize, or that you're more capable of following or exploring than you realize. And I think it requires you realizing that, like, you're safe, and whatever happens, like, you're okay. I think there's a lot in terms of just acceptance of not being able to know what the future holds, but knowing that you're capable of dealing with it as it comes. And when you don't have the answers, when you don't know what to do, your heart will give them to you. That's why it's so important your heart is part of this process. Your heart is your higher self's representative. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to connect with your heart space and do the things you know that you're meant to create or meant to manifest or bring those in when you're disconnected from yourself. At that point, it's like you're expected to create solely from your past experiences. And if your past experiences haven't been great, it's going to feel really hard to trust yourself or trust what the universe might be bringing you. So anyway, Pile 1's higher self, what encouragement do you have for Pile 1 when it comes to stepping into their emotional body and living their life with more presence, more heart? We have the Four of Swords. So I feel like this is a beautiful sign that if you need to take time to just replenish, restore, nourish yourself, please do that. With the Four of Swords, I feel like there is an encouragement here too. Like if you're not ready to reintegrate aspects of your emotional body, if you need to do emotional healing, if you need time to kind of work through certain things, your higher self is letting you know that that time is being given. And in fact, if you've been trying to rush your healing process or rush your comfortability with things, your higher self is asking you to actually take a break and really check in with yourself and be more present with this process. I think more than anything, you need rest, and there's an encouragement here to give yourself that rest and give yourself that space to just kind of not have to know and not feel like you need to know what the next step is, how things are unfolding, what the universe has planned. Will this thing work out? Will it not? I feel like your higher self is really asking you to give your mind a rest, like give your mind that rest and give yourself that space to just kind of decompress. So maybe for some of you, there's an encouragement here, like if you can go on some sort of retreat, or if you can take a weekend to just do things that feel good. Like the goal should be things that feel good and things that are nourishing for you. I feel like your higher self wants you to know that what is meant for you won't miss you. And if you are denying your needs or denying what your heart is asking for you, what your body is asking for you, what the present is asking of you, out of fear that if you're not constantly pushing towards your goals and pushing forward, that like you'll miss something, I feel like your higher self is saying that is actually part of what is keeping you stuck. There's a need for you to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, rest and integration of my healing is an important part of moving forward. And I think that what your higher self is saying is like, you are not wasting time by giving yourself breathing room. You're not wasting time by giving yourself the rest that you need. You know, for some of you, if you've reached some milestone, it's like, okay, well, you don't have to be so focused on the next one right away. Why don't we just enjoy how good it feels to come full circle? Why don't we just enjoy this a little bit of time to ourselves to just decompress and integrate and process and digest like what we've gone through and what we've learned? I think more than anything, if you want to move forward in life, you need to give yourself more space for stillness. And that stillness could come in the form of meditation. It could come in the form of walking. And honestly, it's stillness. Like you could be moving dynamically with your body and still have that stillness, in the sense that I think it's mental stillness that you're really needing. So things like dance or yoga or things that just really get you in your body, I think could be really helpful. But I think the biggest thing is that your guides, not just your higher self, well, your higher self is one of your guides, but your guides and your higher self are telling you it's not only okay to rest, but we're encouraging you to rest. And we want you to know that the more genuine rest you give yourself, and that's the thing too, is you have to be aware of what kind of rest you actually need. You know, if your physical body is not tired, but you're giving yourself physical rest and then scrolling on your phone for a few hours, you're not getting any rest at all, because your physical body was fine. If your mental body was the one that needed rest, and that was the one that was, you know, going the whole time, you're gonna leave that rest period feeling completely unrested because you got the wrong kind of rest. You see what I'm saying? Maybe you need physical and mental rest. That's okay too. Like, I think there's a call to just recognize what you truly need, and rather than shaming yourself for that, being like, okay, I'm gonna give myself permission to do that, and I'm gonna create the circumstances to do that. I feel like your higher self is also just encouraging you to let go of expectations and let go of what you think is happening and how you think things need to unfold, because that is what is getting in the way of you trusting yourself and trusting where the universe is leading you. You know, sometimes we think that, like, you know, our manifestations are just from A to B, but sometimes it's A to F to Y to number 4 and then to B. And it's confusing, but maybe that is quite literally the quickest route there. And solely A to B might take you a lot longer. So it seems like your higher self really likes to speak to you in allegories and metaphors and examples like that. And I think that another thing your higher self wants you to know is that it doesn't matter how many times you miss a message, that your higher self will make sure it gets to you. And I feel like your higher self wants you to kind of let go of the reins a little bit and just know, like, you don't need to be such a, like, you don't need to feel like you need to know everything that's happening. Like, the universe has your back. Your higher self has your back. In fact, the best thing that you could do is settle in to your human experience more and let go of the need to know, and instead just get excited about what the universe might want to bring to you, or what the universe might be showing you, or what you might learn about yourself when you have more space internally to process and reflect. I'm seeing this visual from the movie Matilda, where Matilda uses her magic powers to save her friend Lavender, and Lavender's like holding on to this pipe on the ceiling, and Lavender's holding on really tight, obviously, because it feels like she would fall. But Matilda tells her, just let go, I've got you. And then as Lavender lets go, Matilda uses her powers to just magically bring her down to the ground in a really calm way. And I just kind of see you as Lavender and your higher self as Matilda, just being like, let go. We'll deliver you right where you need to be. And the more you trust your heart, the easier it will be for you to know when a move needs to be made and know when it's a good time to just rest and recoup. I feel like right now you're in this process of gaining the wisdom to be able to know when it is ineffective and unnecessary to be constantly anticipating the next move or feeling like you have to be on it all the time. You don't. You're doing great just as you are. Okay, so we're going to address any fears or concerns that you have right now. So, all right, that's pretty clear, right? I love this. You need to stop doubting your own excellence, first of all. With this Two of Swords here, it's like, with the Two of Swords, the Empress and the High Priestess, this is a healing of your feminine energy in general. And it doesn't matter, who you are. Everybody has feminine and masculine energy within them. And these feminine energies are all about intuition, all about trusting, all about creativity, all about trusting in nature's cycles. The High Priestess is the spiritual feminine aspect, and the Empress is the earthly feminine aspect. And with this Two of Swords here, the hardest part of this process is you just trusting yourself. I feel like you may look for a lot of external guidance, which, hey, thanks for coming by, but you don't need as much of it as you think you do. With this High Priestess and the Empress, you can trust yourself. You can trust what your body is telling you. You can trust the cycles that you're in. And so if you're in a cycle of winter and you need time to rest, like, there is wisdom in that. If you are in a cycle of creative inspiration and you have all these ideas, but you're not sure how to ground them, or you're afraid that they're the wrong thing to do, and so you're not doing anything, and that's creating stress. Your higher self is saying, stop doubting yourself. Like, all the energy you're spending doubting yourself, you could be using grounding that beautiful inspiration and that amazing head of yours. What your higher self wants you to know is to stop fearing how great it could be. And by it, I mean your life. How great your own experience could be. How great you can be. And I'm not looking at greatness in terms of achievements or accomplishments. I'm talking of greatness in terms of just seeing your value as a human person, recognizing that there is wisdom within you that may not be supported by external institutions, but you don't need those external institutions to validate, what your body, what your spirit is telling you. And I feel like there is a beautiful integration and healing happening here, where a lot of the experiences you've gone through, yeah, they left a mark. Yeah, they messed you up a little bit, but you've grown from them. You've learned from them. And while the pain may still linger, and while, you may not forget those experiences, they were important for making you who you are as well. You wouldn't have reached this point in your life. I think the point of what I'm trying to say is that sometimes, we look at who we were before we had traumatic experiences, or who we were before we had, really like hard things happen to us. And I think part of the human experience is recognizing that, yeah, nobody leaves Earth unscathed. And you're not meant to be the person that you were before these things happened. You know, part of the human burden is dealing with the experiences that come with being in a body, and that come with socialization, and that come with fear being the primary motivation for people's behaviors. I feel like what your higher self is letting you know is that your fear is so much weaker than your own instincts, your own intuition, and your own creative abilities. And there's just a message here to trust yourself. And with this Two of Swords, stop doubting yourself. Stop holding back. Like, really, when your body says you need rest, you need rest. When your heart says we need to have fun, do the fun thing. When your heart says this isn't aligned with me, I don't resonate with this, you know, without judgment, you can say, okay, let's redirect ourselves towards something that does work. I feel like you just fear that you're not ready, and you are. You're ready for whatever the universe asks for you. You're ready for whatever your manifestations require of you to make them happen. You need to stop doubting yourself. You have much more wisdom within you than you realize. And not only that, but you're ready and prepared for whatever you need. And I think that, like, for a lot of you, I think you need to know that you're ready to rest. You're ready to trust. You're ready to just go with the flow and stop holding on to things so tightly. I think you can also just know that you can trust yourself. You are not the person that you once were. You're not as naive. You have gained wisdom. You have gained awareness. And you know what's beautiful? Like, you're still a compassionate person. It's just that you've been struggling to extend that compassion to yourself. And I think your higher self is saying, it's time to trust yourself, because you may make mistakes sometimes. You may misinterpret what your body is telling you, but that's not something to beat yourself up for. That is something to learn from and grow from. And I think what the universe is really saying is that it's going to be a lot harder for you to continue walking on your path the more you detach from your heart space and the less you trust yourself, because trying to find that wisdom outside of you is going to lead you to answers you already knew internally, or guidance that doesn't resonate with you at all, that just leads to confusion. So cut out the things that confuse you, cut out the things that bring you fear, and just remember that you're far more capable than you realize, and you can trust yourself through this process. You know, the worst part of all of this is just the fear your mind creates. And the less you trust in that, and the more you get excited about what the universe might be trying to show you, or how your manifestations might unfold, or how the things you've been creating, you know, might come into the 3D, how, you know, abundance might come to you in new ways and new creative ideas. Like, all of that is leading to a magical journey that you will be present with, and that you've already been on, and that you've already have been present with. Like, the only thing that is messing you up is your own doubt and overthinking. And so I feel like your higher self is like, please stop listening to your fearful thoughts, because they are deluding you into thinking that you're incapable of facing things that you are capable of, and that you are not ready for things that you very much are ready for. Okay, so I want to see how your higher self wants to connect with you. So how can pile 1 connect with their higher self more consciously, please? Do things that you love. Take opportunities to feel joy. Literally, the Ace of Cups is a cup of love, and these are all opportunities to feel. You know, you will feel your higher self. You won't know your higher self is there. You'll feel it, and then maybe you'll know it because you'll feel it. But any opportunity to just feel good vibes, or just feel in general. You know, if you have opportunities to do emotional healing, that is a way you can connect with your higher self. If you have opportunities to do fun things with friends, or if you have like whatever it may be, things that light your heart up, that's how your higher self wants to connect with you. Your higher self wants to connect with you through fun, through joy, through experiences that are meaningful because of what you feel when you have them, not experiences that are meaningful because they have a monetary value attached to them. Your higher self wants You'll feel your higher self in those moments when you're feeling grateful. You'll feel your higher self in those moments where you're looking around and you're like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe this is me. Like, wow, those flowers are so beautiful. Or like, it's in those small moments. But then you also know that there are things that you could do that you would enjoy, that would connect you to yourself. your higher self is really around when you do things that light your heart up and that feel good and that are emotionally nourishing. I'm thinking of the movie Soul. You know, the main character, he loves piano, and so like for example, if you loved piano and you felt good when you played music, then you'll feel and connect to your higher self through that. I feel like your higher self is coming through and asking you to look at it less as a source of guidance and more as just a part of self that will bring you wisdom naturally when you're open to it and present with what it's trying to show you. I think there's a part of you that is incessantly analyzing, and that part of you that is just analyzing so much, it's not leading you to any effective conclusions. It's probably, if it's leading you to more confusion, then I think that is a good reason of why you need less of that. But also all of the energy that you're spending analyzing, you could be conserving that energy and staying open to what the universe is trying to show you, what your heart is trying to show you. So anything that brings about a sense of emotional joy that makes you feel good, and you're like, well, I don't know what makes me feel good, I don't know what I enjoy, well, that's what you start trying. Look for something, what seems interesting. You know, it's really easy to sit there and continue to disempower yourself and be like, well, I don't know how to do anything fun. Yes you do. You just have to, sometimes you have to do things differently. I will say, I think media has kind of like distorted our idea of what fun is, because it's just hijacked, like, you know, different functions in the brain, and it does take time and space to kind of reorient ourselves to, like, you know, what is joyful from like a sincere place rather than from a place that's trying to get you addicted to something. You know what I mean? Things that bring you true joy, you won't feel addicted to them. You will, well, maybe in a certain way, but like not in a way where you literally neglect your needs, because it's, well, I mean, I guess you can, but there's more presence. Does that make sense? Your higher self wants to connect with you through things that bring you joy. And if you don't know what those things are, the time to start is now. And maybe one thing that would bring you joy is, instead of trying to figure out what makes you happy, just ask your body, like, what do I need today? Maybe what will make you happy is sitting and watching the clouds. I love doing nothing. Doing nothing brings me so much joy. So it may not even be a thing. It could be absolutely nothing, and just not letting your mind rob you of the peace that comes with just cloud gazing or people watching, you know? It can be something small. It doesn't have to be something grand. There are many different ways that we can connect to our heart space and feel emotionally nourished and enjoy ourselves. And so your higher self wants to connect with you in any way through that. And one thing that I'm hearing is that as you do that, you'll feel this presence within you where you're like, oh yeah, that's my highest self. Like that is me. Like this is the part of me. And maybe that's the part of you felt like you've been missing. And you'll be like, oh yeah, like this was the missing ingredient. This was the thing I was looking for. So now I want to see what guidance your higher self has for staying aligned with your highest self, at least in the moment. So how can pile 1 stay aligned with their highest selves and stay aligned with their emotional body? Yeah, strength. So this strength card is all about surrender. This is all about you having the strength to stay present in what is and accept what is coming through without judgment. Because there are going to be times where you're not going to want to be connected to your emotional body. You're going to be feeling frustrated, or you're going to be feeling discouraged, or you're going to be feeling fearful or uncertain about what the future holds or what might be happening. But rather than judging yourself for having those experiences, rather than detaching from yourself because those experiences are too intense for you to handle, remaining present with them and not abandoning yourself and saying, okay, whoa, we're having a really strong feeling right now. This is kind of uncomfortable. What might this feeling be trying to tell us? How can I be present with this feeling and not abandon myself? This strength card is all about just having the strength to redirect yourself back to your emotional body, back to the present moment, when you want to escape, when you want to avoid, when it would be a lot easier for you to just pretend like it's not there and you know, ignore it. It takes real strength to surrender to what is. And I think that that is really what you're being asked to do here. And also to recognize that sometimes what your ego wants or what your mind wants is not what your heart wants. And you will have to sacrifice those visions sometimes, or those ideas sometimes, because they don't align with what your heart truly desires. And sometimes it takes strength to choose what the heart needs over what the mind thinks is right or what you think you should do. It takes strength. But no matter what, the best way to stay aligned with this energy is, no matter what you choose, no matter how you go about doing this, no matter what choices you make, not judging yourself for them, being present with yourself as they're happening, so that you can be like, okay, we made the choice that doesn't really align with our highest good, and we don't really feel as great, but I'm taking note of this feeling and this emotion, so that when I have the opportunity to make this choice again, maybe I'll choose differently. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll need to learn the same lesson again, but that's okay. That's what these lessons are here for. Like, that's what the universe is here for. The universe is patient as hell, and it will wait on you. And so I think the more present you can be, especially when you make those choices that you feel like make you weak, or that you feel ashamed or embarrassed of, those are the things that are going to give you the wisdom, so that next time you can have the strength to do something differently. You know, if you have a choice between two things, choose the thing that you're less familiar with. But more than anything, I think you're really being encouraged to keep following your inner light, and just trust that you're strong enough to sit with yourself and sit with whatever, you know, your spirit, your emotional body, your mental body, your physical body is bringing to your awareness, and you have the strength and the wisdom and the awareness and to be able to face those things, and you'll be okay. And that is where a lot of growth will come from. And you're in the healing that you have just in your life, and like the healing that you do, whether consciously or unconsciously, you will notice evidence of that healing in those moments where you choose to do something differently, in those moments where you're present without having to be conscious about it, in those moments where you just feel connected to the greater universe at large, and you feel your role in it, and you're just like, yeah, like, I'm here, I'm in a body, I'm worthy, like, this is my life, and I'm grateful for it, this is beautiful. And like, yeah, this was a really challenging message to channel, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know why, but I know I repeated myself a lot, so thank you for giving me grace with that. But I also feel like the repetitiveness of these messages really come down to the fact that, like, you can't mess this up. Like, what is meant for you will not miss you. And every moment, every choice is an opportunity to grow and learn, is an opportunity to give ourselves more grace, is an opportunity to be more present and to surrender what we're holding on to. And yeah, I feel like your higher self just wants you to know, like, you're already doing amazing, and you don't need to beat yourself up further. Your higher self is so proud of you and so grateful for what you have done in order to care for yourself and in order to survive. And I feel like your higher self is saying, like, we really want to thrive, and you're well on your way to doing that, but you're never going to thrive if you can't feel how good it feels to thrive. You know what I mean? So we're going to go ahead now and look at stones, a flower, a chakra / scent, and an animal that your higher self is showing up in, and see what guidance these cards have for you. So you can take the guidance, but also, you know, these stones can be helpful for you, and these could be signs that your higher self shows up in. So starting with the stones, we have cinnabar. I do not have this stone, but it says manifestation, wealth, and inspiration. Known as the alchemist stone, cinnabar is a crystal used to enhance metaphysical abilities, call in abundance, and manifest your heart's desire. Okay. I love when I'm on the right path. Cinnabar's name is originated from the Persian word meaning dragon's blood, and refers to the tiny red gems sprinkled across the stone. This crystal is powerful in enhancing your life force, giving you the stamina you need to carry out your tasks and go after the things that can feel larger than life. Cinnabar grounds and encourages you while you reach beyond what you believe was possible. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that your higher self is saying, is that, like, there are things, like, that if you knew that they were in your future, you would be running in the opposite direction because you would feel, and not because they're bad, but because they're so grand and beautiful that you would feel like you're unworthy of them or that you would mess them up. And so that's a big reason why the universe doesn't really let you know what's going on while you're in the midst of it. And that's part of the magic of creation, you know, and you deserve that. We also have Big Spite. Timing is everything, and with Big Spite, that couldn't be truer. Big Spite has an impeccable knack for the right timing and can encourage you to try new things, pursue an opportunity, or change anything that needs an update. And so that's really significant too about like the timing portion of things. Like when you feel the need to rest, when you feel the need to slow down, like don't let your mind pressure you and create a false sense of urgency that doesn't need to be there, because your higher self could quite literally be helping you, you know, regroup and regenerate to prepare for an opportunity coming. And I think that your higher self is going to bring opportunities your way. And like when you feel this like excitement in your heart and just like, ooh, I think I should try that, that'll be a great way to connect with your higher self. And those are opportunities you should say yes to. Big Spite opens the connection between your base chakras and your heart chakra and infuses you with unconditional love for yourself and others. Big Spite encourages energy expressed as action, movement, and progression to move towards true alignment between you and your soul. Update what's outdated with joy and recharge your life. In terms of a flower, we have the Sacred Lotus. Enlightenment, no mud, no lotus. So yeah, I feel like you've been in the mud for a while, and I feel like you're ready to start blooming, but your heart is the seed. So if you're not connected to your heart space, it's going to be a lot harder for you to start blooming and start growing. But you can trust that you've already done a lot, and you should be really proud of yourself. Yeah. Okay, so we have the Sacral. The scent is juniper berry, and the theme is protection. The trigger statement is, my mind does not rest. And the true statement is, I listen to my higher self. Look at each story that repeats itself in your mind as a stranger would. Ask yourself, is this true? Yeah, I think your higher self wants you to know, like, this is really coming back to, you can trust yourself more than you think you can. And I think that your mind creates a lot of unnecessary doubt. Like, I felt a lot of unnecessary doubt just channeling this message. And I feel like I've repeated myself like 50 fucking times, because like, it just like, even though I feel like I'm touching on what I need to, I'm like, I don't know if I've done enough, or I feel like I need to say that in another way, or like even I've been overthinking. And so if you've been watching this going crazy, being like, oh my God, Asa, like just spit it out, or just do this, or like, it's a lot easier said than done, isn't it? And so when I'm talking, you know, it is a lot easier said than done to just be present and be in your heart space and not let your mind run. But that's a challenge. That's where the growth lies. And I think that it's really, really important. Like, I think mental rest is huge here. And your sacral is an emotional chakra. It's a chakra that helps you feel. It's where relationships and attachments are. It's also, you know, it's where a lot of sexual organs are. It's where a lot of feeling stuff is. And so I definitely think healing of the sacral chakra could be useful. And you may feel your higher self like in your gut, but you can listen to your higher self by listening to your heart. So if you can't feel it all, that's the first place you may wanna start. But finally, we have Bat Spirit. A rebirth is assured. So your higher self may come through in the form of a bat. It makes me think of, like, you know, all of the many Batman movies, and like, I know the Christian Bale ones, there's like an emphasis on, you know, not running away from fear, becoming fear itself. But yeah, I feel like your higher self is saying, like, things are changing and you're definitely going to go through a powerful rebirth here. But that rebirth can't happen if your heart is still detached from you. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with a guidance message on how to love your inner goddess. Now, you may not resonate on having an inner goddess. That's okay. We're just going to take this as a message of self-love. So, Spirit, how can pile 1 love themselves more deeply and truly at this time? How can they bring their heart into the equation and give themselves what they need at this time? Okay. We have the Shaman of Skulls. Just funny, I almost used a skull deck for this reading, but I ended up changing my mind last minute and used the Moonchild. But anyway. In your heart, you've been asking for something different, something more, and the universe is answering your prayers. You do not need to be afraid of the changes happening or that are going to happen for you. They are part of that answer from the universe. You might feel uncertain because you cannot see how it is all going to work out, but know that the universe is caring for you and will provide a way to move through through the transition with grace. You are not crazy to willingly enter this experience. There is nothing that you need to avoid and so much that you will gain. Something is ending, something that meant a lot to you. Maybe it is a relationship, a phase of your life, an identity that no longer suits you. Maybe it is an inner ending that you cannot quite articulate, but you feel nonetheless. This is a symbolic death with a greater purpose. The shaman is spiritually trained to overcome the fear of symbolic death and instead of avoiding endings, to willingly go through them with the awareness that an ending is simply the other side of a beginning. The shaman learns that endings happen when something new wishes to be born. The shaman knows that this is ultimately for good and has compassion for the human mind that may still feel very uncomfortable and resistant to the process. So even whilst we may accept the change, even with gratitude, our minds might feel uncertain and afraid. We might feel confused or try to cling to what is ending. These are natural human responses to loss, especially when we sense that loss is irreversible and that life will never quite be the same again. Be patient with yourself. Be kind. But also know that new life is happening for you now according to a higher purpose and a loving plan. Your life is meant to change at this time. Be encouraged. From the ashes of this symbolic death, you shall rise again. Yeah, literally a rebirth is assured. And there's a little ritual here that you can do if you want to. ASO film a video under an hour challenge. I don't know. I don't think I can. Because even when I try, I seem to just not be able to quit yapping. But pile 1, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show me support and appreciation, so thank you to everyone who does that. If you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates. Thank you to everyone who likes the video. That's so helpful. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Shout out to my notification squad. If you want me to see your comments, I usually see comments when I first upload and like the day or so after. So yeah, that's that. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can check out my candles, you can check out other readings, you can check out my social media, you can check out readings with extendeds, yeah, or you can just send some love and gratitude my way. I'm grateful for that as well. But that's all I have for you guys, so thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this beautiful yellow fluorite, probably as beautiful as you, and the Crystal Power Tarot, this is going to be your reading on a pep talk from your higher self. So if you want a full breakdown of the reading, as usual, there is one in the intro. But we're just going to go ahead and start by shuffling 2 cards from the deck you chose. And the first question is going to look at the topic your higher self wants to talk to you about. So if this first portion doesn't resonate, then this reading is not for you. Obviously, if it does, hello, you found your reading. And then we will also shuffle and look at what your higher self wants you to know about this topic / them. So pile 2's higher self. What topic or aspect of pile 2's life at this time do you want to talk about with them? Okay. And what do they need to know about this topic, and what do they need to know about you? Well, you and you are them, they are you, right? Okay, so let's look at this. To start, we have, we have the High Priestess. My intuition guides me to truth. And we have the Weight of Truth. Wow, okay. Hello, my intuitive baddies. I'm so glad that you are here. Please note that baddies is gender neutral and anyone can be a baddie. And then let's see what they want to say about this. So we have the 7 of Swords. I take great care of what I value, and I am wild and free. Beautiful. Oh, these are beautiful energies, pile 2. Where do I even start? So what your higher self wants to talk to you about is okay, it's a lot, but it's a lot in terms of like what you have been perceiving, what you have been dealing with. You know, the biggest thing that your higher self is coming through to talk to you about is the fact that you are way more in tune with yourself, your truth, and the nature of reality than you realize. And with those truths comes the awareness and the horror of how we actually operate in the world. I wouldn't be shocked if that is something that is weighing on you. It should on anyone, you know. I think a lot of times we feel like we're going crazy the more sane we become, and by the more sane we become, you know, the more connected we are to our truth. And then we just start to see like the insanity that is in the world and how much suffering it creates in one another, in ourselves. I definitely think that for some of you, there could be a specific thing your intuition has been leading you to that maybe you haven't wanted to admit, or that you know is true, but you haven't been ready to act on it. The biggest thing about truth, you know, that word actually, it really irritates me sometimes, because I feel like the truth is such a slippery concept, right? And I believe that truth is rooted in love. You can believe whatever you want, but I think we all can agree. Sorry, I just thought of a Victoria Justice meme. I think we can all sing. I think we can all agree that, you know, a lot of people talk about truth in a very distorted way and say, you know, this is the truth, this is what is true. And oftentimes they are lying through their teeth or spreading some sort of information that is unhelpful or, you know, suppressive. And, you know, maybe you just see that in the world and it's really hard. Maybe you feel overwhelmed by the reality of life, you know, the suffering that goes hand in hand with the joy, you know, the deep collective and systemic issues that we have in every corner of this planet. It may feel very overwhelming, and the more in tune you get with yourself, you may be finding yourself really struggling between doing what feels right to you and doing what others think is right. And that is a hard balance. It is hard for anyone. And I think one thing your higher self really wants you to know is that part of the gift of this confusion is learning to build trust in yourself and your own intuition, and building confidence in what you believe to be true. I definitely think that if you've been struggling with just, you know, just the intense nature of reality, your higher self is wanting you to know that it's okay to be immobilized by that weight sometimes. It's okay to be heartbroken over something that's happening across the world. It's okay to be angry and frustrated about the fact that you can't do more, or the fact that, you know, you wish other people could see things like you did, you know? I feel like that's normal and it's okay. And I think the deeper you step into your own truth, the more you see how many people are living a lie. And that's really, really fucking hard to deal with. Like, I relate to you so hard. And I feel like your higher self really wants you to know, like, this is an important part of your journey. And you're at a place right now where you are learning to trust what is true to you rather than what society says is true. You know, and that is a really hard thing to do. And what your higher self wants you to know, and what they want you to know about this is, first of all, you're doing great. You're doing awesome. And you're way more tapped into yourself than you realize. Like, oh, I've got chills everywhere. Like, oh, pile 2. Like, literally pile 2. You're the high priestess. I love this. And I think that there are a lot of challenging feelings that you've been dealing with as you open yourself up to more truth. And I feel like you're being called to recognize that those feelings are okay to have. And I like there's this quote, I don't know who says it, but the truth should piss you off sometimes. And if you feel like you're going crazy and like, how are so many people just not seeing this? Or how, I feel like there's definitely an emphasis here on your outward perception versus like it's a couple things. Your outward perception, the belief systems you were conditioned with what you see in the outside world around you and what you are learning to believe is true about you, what is true for you, what is important to you, all those things are kind of mixing together. And it's a lot. And it requires a lot of processing. And I feel like one thing your higher self is saying is that it may take time for you to digest a lot of this stuff. And there may be experiences you just kind of have to move through and trust yourself, and that's okay. But what your higher self really wants you to know is that you are not as trapped as you believe you are. And you do have more of an opportunity to make an impact than you realize. I think one of the most important things about inner work is the fact that inner work and building our own spiritual reserves allows us to serve others, allows us to make changes and create opportunities for something to be different. I was actually having this conversation recently in a class I was taking, and we were talking about how, we really don't know what we're doing. Like we think we know what the solutions are. We think that we have something better, but more often than not, one solution creates more problems. And there really is no, perfect way or perfect system. And one of the things that we kind of talked about was, well, maybe it's less about being right. Maybe it's less about fixing things and more about creating space for new ways of being, new ways of doing, new ways of finding solutions, and maybe we can grow and learn together. I feel like that's kind of a theme that you're working through right now. Like, how do I be myself? How do I be my authentic self and not crumble under the immense weight of the truth of what I'm seeing in the world? And that is a really important thing to recognize and acknowledge. And I completely understand where you're coming from. As you guys know, I've been posting a hell of a lot less in the recent months, just so that I can be able to be in environments again and not feel weighed down by, what other people are experiencing, what is happening in the world. And it is a very important thing to be able to do that, because if you're drowning with everyone and everything else, you can't be there to be a lifeguard. You can't be there to help. You can't be there to be present. And so I feel like you're going through a very important phase of initiation right now, where you're learning to step into more sovereignty and recognize the value of your intuition, the value of your unique perspective, and the fact that you don't have to do things the way people tell you to do them. You don't have to believe the world is a certain way because other people tell you that. You don't have to choose a perspective that doesn't align with you. And I think what your higher self is coming through to say is that your mind is the biggest inhibitor to you trusting yourself. And I'm burping as I say that, which is often a release of negativity. And I do think that one thing that you are purging right now is a lot of negative belief systems, a lot of negative beliefs about yourself, a lot of negative beliefs about the world. And let's be clear, like, when it comes to how we see the world, I think that the world is all bad or all good, that's never going to be a productive perspective, right? Like Earth is a place of polarity, and there are many things happening at once, and it's super complex, and it's just part of life. We're all growing, we're all flawed, and yeah, there's a hell of a lot of suffering, a hell of a lot of problems. And I used to believe that the phrase "be the change you want to see in the world" was stupid. And then I realized that I was stupid, and that's actually one of the most true phrases I've ever heard, because it really is true. Like, we cannot expect others to change, especially when we're not changing ourselves. And I think that you've been doing a lot of the very important work of getting closer to your truth so that you can step into deeper service, so that you can be the type of person you want to be in the world and make a difference. Like, you give me the vibes of, I want to leave this place a little bit better than I found it. And I feel like your higher self is coming through to say that you're far more connected to it than you realize. In fact, I think it's your own doubts that get in the way of you being able to trust yourself more. But this is the High Priestess. And I think one thing that you need to hear is that you don't need other people to validate your perspective in order for it to be true. You don't need other people to understand where you're coming from in order for your perspective to have value. You don't need the external validation that you're doing something right. That validation will come from the feelings you receive when you choose yourself, when you choose your intuition. And it will also come from the satisfaction that comes from learning to trust yourself, because I'll be honest, it's really hard. You know, I think one thing your higher self wants you to know is that you don't have to do things in a certain way. You don't have to do things the way everyone else does. Your higher self has this really beautiful energy, and I feel like this is an aspect of your soul. I bet your soul has been at a lot of different places. We have Aquarius energy here, and I just feel like your soul is not only an adventurer, but also a humanitarian. And I'm sure these are aspects that you resonate with. But I do feel like your higher self is kind of coming through to say that you're in a phase of life right now where you are reconsidering what you truly value, and whether you're taking action on those values, whether you are trusting what your inner self is guiding you to. And I feel like there's just this big, okay, your higher self and my higher self are both giving you a huge hug right now. If I could give you a real hug, I would. But this energy is just like, yeah, things are really, really messed up. Human behaviors, human belief systems, yeah, they've got some pretty intense flaws. And even our own perspectives will have flaws, and we will have short-sighted things. But that's the nature of love. We can't, and the nature of the human experience, you know, we can't always know what the right thing is to do. And maybe even the concept that there is a right thing to do is part of the problem. You know, we can't always know what a solution is. We can't always know how to help, how to show up in the world. But that's why our intuition is so important, because it gives us the opportunity to have a sense of knowing outside of what we've been conditioned to believe and outside of what society says is right. If society was so right, I think that we as humans would be in a much different position right now. And I think that one of the things that you're struggling with is just the fact that you're perceiving a lot of truths. And truthfully, like, if you guys want to talk about that in the comments, I would love to read, like, what are the truths you're perceiving about yourself and the world? Like, you know, if there's any place to get validation from it, it's here. Like, I just want to say, like, you guys are so awesome. Like, the support you give each other, and like, there are so many people like you watching this, and they can resonate with you, and they may be on the complete other side of the world, and you guys may be completely different, but you're going through the same things. And I just think that is like, I can even relate to this. And I think that one of the hardest parts of learning to trust yourself is dealing with the discomfort of not knowing what the right thing is to do. And like I said, maybe the right thing is to let go of the idea that there is a right thing to do. I think life is a lot more complex than we give it credit for, and it's really easy to simplify things. And I feel like what your higher self is coming through to let you know is that you are in the process of freeing yourself from a lot of things that have kept you trapped. And I would say a lot of mental bindings especially. And you are going through the process of learning to not betray yourself anymore. And that is so fucking awesome. I'm so happy for you, Pile 2. Like, I can't tell you how powerful this initiation is going to be for you, because you are going to be losing mental fatigue, the mental fatigue that comes from doubting yourself. And, well, not always. I mean, we get that a lot, but less of it. You're making more room for more fun, for more freedom, for more joy. And I feel like what your higher self wants you to remember is that you're not trapped. And in fact, when you feel torn between option 1 and option 2, your higher self is always going to come through with option 3. There's always another way. And I think one thing your higher self wants you to know is that it's incredibly inventive, spontaneous, sporadic, and as you learn to trust it more, you will realize that it is a genius, just like you. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the butt planet. And what I just love about this, what I love about you, Pile 2, is that you're not shying away from your truth and what these truths are showing you. And these may be really challenging things to deal with, but you're going to move through them great. And one thing your higher self wants you to know is that the more you learn to honor yourself, the freer you will feel and the less guilty you will feel about doing what's right for you. But I definitely think if there have been any specific intuitive things that you know, maybe you haven't wanted to face, or maybe they have been like upsetting or disturbing or scary, but you know they're the right thing to trust or the right thing to act on, I feel like your higher self is coming through to say that everything is going to be okay. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is what this card says: I take great care of what I value. And so you have to ask yourself, do I value myself more than this thing that I'm afraid of facing? I hope you do. But I think if you don't, the actions that you take will just be leading you down to this process of looking at self-betrayal and how to work through it and how to trust yourself more so that you do it less and that you are just able to flow more easily. I do think that this is actually a process of flow. And I also think that if you've been holding on to any secrets, secrets that have really weighed on you, or secrets for someone else, trust yourself to do what you feel is right about that. The biggest message that I'm seeing here already is just that you know what you need to do. And if you don't know yet, you may be overthinking it, and it may be hard for you to listen to your intuition. As I like to say, anxiety screams, intuition whispers. I'm sure someone else much smarter than me said that before, but I can't remember, and I say it all the time. So yeah, but you are not a bad person for choosing yourself, and you are not a bad person for doing what is right in your spirit. And sometimes there are going to be situations where there is no, where you're losing something no matter what. And I'm not saying that you're losing anything here. I just do think that there is a portion of you, some of you won't resonate with this at all, but for others, there is a portion of you where you are being let, like there's truths that you know, but you haven't wanted to face them. And you know that things need to change, whether it is in relationships that you have, your relationship with yourself, how you're living your life, behaviors, it can be anything. You know, holding, like, you know, it could also be something like holding on to something for someone else, like, you know, holding on to a secret, or, you know, protecting them at the expense of yourself. Like, it can be so many different things. And I feel like what your higher self is coming through to say is that you're not trapped. You can trust yourself more than you think you can. And when in doubt, do what is most loving towards yourself, because the truth is rooted in love. And I think sometimes it can be really hard to know what is right to do in the moment. Like I said, I need to stop saying that. We don't know what's right to do in the moment, but we can do what feels true to us and what feels authentic to us. And I feel like what your higher self is really wanting you to know is that is the key to moving. Like, you will know that this initiation has, I wouldn't say passed, but has cemented itself when it is not a struggle for you to trust yourself, but it's second nature. And you stay open to, of course, you know, the world around you, but you're led by your own inner sense of truth. And that's where you're headed. And that's so awesome. And this is a level of spiritual integrity that takes a lot of growth and healing and awareness and wisdom to have. And so I don't care how old you are, you should just be very, very, very proud of yourself. Your higher self is proud of you. I'm proud of you. It is hard to do what feels right in a world that is telling us we're wrong all the time, in a world that is telling us we should be ashamed, in a world that is essentially upholding illusions that create tons of suffering in order to benefit those who create them. And your higher self is saying you see through that, and that's a beautiful thing, and you don't have to be held by it. And in fact, the more you embrace your higher self, the more weightless you will feel in the midst of that truth. I mean, there will be times where, yeah, like, you're gonna be weighed down by these realities, and it's gonna be disturbing, and it's gonna be hard, but that's where acceptance comes in. You know, I think acceptance is a really hard thing to learn, but it can be one of the most freeing things, because you just, like, less of your mental space is taken up by thinking about what isn't working, what isn't right, how you can't control it, and things like that. And, you know, I think what's really interesting is, you know, with this I am wild and free card, like, your higher self knows how to be both present for what is there, whilst also remaining multidimensional in terms of your own awareness around like what possibilities are, how things can happen. You know, it's interesting how like this weight of truth and then I am wild and free, they're kind of completely different energies in the sense that one of them feels almost like there's a weight bogging you, this energy down, whereas your higher self is like, yes, like this is true, this is me. And I feel like what your higher self wants you to know is, as you integrate this truth, as you honor it, as you accept it, as you understand what you're experiencing and validate that for yourself, and give yourself permission to just honor what your truth is, the lighter you're going to start feeling, and the easier it will be for you to act in alignment with that and be more aware of what is actually within your control, how you actually can contribute, and what is aligned with you. And so what your higher self is saying is, you know, you're already working through this, and you're going to do this. Like, you are going to get lighter, you are going to get freer, you're going to have more fun, and you're going to be more expansive and embrace your truth even more fully and inspire others with it. And I'm so excited for you. But the biggest hurdle is going to be the fears and mental blockages that get in your way. And so what your higher self is saying is, when in doubt, reconnect to yourself, reconnect to what's important. Ask yourself what is most loving towards you, what would love ask of you, and do that. And if you don't know what love would do, I'm not a big Bible guy, but you know, I do like the quote about love. You know, love is patient, love is kind, does not brag or boast, something, 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 something. But yeah, like, you know, like, what would Jesus do? You can just say, what would love do? Jesus is the epitome of unconditional love, right? But so many other beings are that, you know? It doesn't have to be Jesus. It can be any being that resonates love for you. What would they tell you? What would they tell you to do? And that's another thing. Jesus loves you whether you read the Bible or not. Jesus loves you whether you love him or not. Same thing with Buddha. Same thing with Kuan Yin. Like, these beings that love us unconditionally, they love us. They just love us. And unconditional love is something that I think that you are learning to tap into, and that's so powerful, and I'm so happy for you. And, you know, whatever beings that you feel inspire that love for you, tap into that. Be inspired by them. You know, ask for signs from them, well, from the version of them that loves you unconditionally. And just see where your intuition leads you. You are far more capable than you realize, and you're doing great. I'm so proud of you, Pile 2. Oh my God. Okay, so let's get some encouragement on facing this topic. So Pile 2's higher self, what encouragement do you want to give Pile 2, please? Ace of Wands, I'm inspired to follow my passion. Yeah, okay. So I definitely think that if you've been feeling burnt out, or you're feeling like you need to act on things, but you just don't quite have the energy yet, I feel like this is permission from your higher self to say, take your time. You know, if you need more time to kind of get to your truth, if you need more time to process and digest things, give yourself that space. But this is also a message about inspired action. And inspired action is different from mindless action, in the sense that, you know, we can be busy and get nothing done. Or, you know, we can be moved by something greater than us and take action from that place. An example that I use a lot is with surfing. You know, you can sit out in the water and enjoy the waves and wait for the right wave to come and carry you, or you can paddle all the way back to shore and wear yourself out in the process. It's the same thing like in SpongeBob, that episode where the magic conch episode, where they keep asking the magic conch what to do when they're stranded in the wilderness, and she's like, nothing. And so they sit there and do nothing. Meanwhile, Squidward, being Squidward, you know, is losing his marbles and is like trying to build a hut and survive. Meanwhile, they do absolutely nothing, and then a plane drops a feast on them, literally like down in front of them. And SpongeBob and Patrick do nothing. Meanwhile, Squidward shows up and he's pissed because he's frazzled and exhausted from doing what he thought he needed to do in order to survive. But SpongeBob and Patrick listen to their magic conch, and, you know, shells often make me think of the High Priestess and intuition. So I definitely feel like what you feel is true, and when you feel like, this is a feeling thing, and less of a feeling of like excitement, but rather just a feeling of inner knowing, and just like, yes, whatever like a big ass yes feels like. I feel like that is kind of your intuition. But I feel like what your higher self is also saying is, whatever conclusions you're coming to about these truths, they are leading you to exciting new opportunities. And I feel like with this Ace of Wands being here, what your higher self really wants you to know is that you are never going to run out of the energetic reserves that you need to embody your role on this planet and do what you need to do. Understand and experience what you need to understand and experience. And in this case, I feel like if you are exhausted, or you're just feeling like you kind of need some time to go within, or just like do your little thing, whatever your little thing is. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Do that, because it may be that you need that in order for the next burst of inspiration. It may be that you just kind of need time to make space internally for more energy to come in. And if you're not feeling inspired, if you're not feeling passionate, that hasn't lost you, and you're not being punished, and you're not doing anything wrong. It's important to remember that while you're here on this planet as a human, you know, you're going to go through cyclical changes. You're going to have highs and lows. You're going to have times of needing to rest and retreat. You know, in places where all 4 seasons occur, you know, you observe how nature isn't always in bloom. You know, it has phases of growth, of presence, of decay, and of rest. And we all need those. And our process is different from someone else's. You know, someone else may have tons of inspiration and energy reserves, and you may need more rest, and that's okay. Like, this is an important message, not to compare yourself, but to also recognize that these truths that you're coming to are going to bring you tons of inspiration and tons of energy to get things done, because you're going to be moved by something greater than you. And if you don't have that right now, that's okay. You're gonna receive it in the perfect time, in the perfect way. And so when you feel like, and this is how you will know this situation, you will have a desire or a want to push forward, to keep moving, to do things, to get things done. But every part of you is like, no, I need to rest, or no, I need to take some time, I need to integrate this. And there's gonna be some fear, that likely, or some stress or some frustration in the fact of like, oh, why can't I just get myself to do that? Because you're a human being, not a human doing. And we're not designed to just keep pushing forward all the time, unlike what Jeff Bezos may believe. But shots fired, I guess. He's probably gonna unsubscribe now. Anyway, that was a joke, by the way. Sometimes I make that joke and people take me seriously, and I'm like, okay. Anyway, everything's okay. You're gonna get what you need in the perfect time, in the perfect way. You are being protected and you are being guided. And I would be willing to bet that one thing your intuition has been telling you is, I don't know how, but everything is gonna be okay. And I'm here to confirm that. Everything is gonna be okay. You're gonna be just fine. So let's address any fears or concerns that you have at this time. I'm so excited for you, Pile 2. I can't even lie. Like, oh, what a beautiful soul you are. I want to cry. Like, I wish you could see how beautiful you are. Like, I hope you do. But like, just even caring about this, even caring about the impact that you have in the world. There's so many people that don't, and that's we're not judging them for that. But what a beautiful thing it is to be conscious and aware of that and care about it. It's hard to do that, and give yourself that credit. It is hard. It is hard to care. It is hard to love. It is hard to have compassion, but it's worth it. And it's what love would ask of us. So what fears or concerns would you like to address for Queen of Wands? I love that. I am naturally creative. And look at that. It literally looks like the tower that you picked is. So Obviously, you do not have to be a woman in order for this to resonate, but all of you have Queen of Wands energy within you. And this Queen of Wands energy is all about, you know, being inspired, being passionate, being confident, sharing your light with the world, taking up space, letting people see you, and creating from that place of inspiration. And I love how it's like, I feel like once again, what you need to know is that you are perfect for the things you feel in your heart you are being guided towards. You are perfect for the life path and the creations that you want to give to the world. And creativity doesn't have to be about art, and it doesn't have to be about like creation is anything. You know, you can use your creativity to change up your routine. You can use your creativity to cook a sick ass meal. You can use your creativity to show people how you love and appreciate them. Like, you know, for example, on Mother's Day, I wrote my grandmas and my mom like just these really heartfelt letters just about how much I love them and I was grateful for them. Like, that's a form of creativity and a form of light work, because, you know, not only was it really meaningful to them, like I'll cry if I think about it because I'm like, I love them, but also, you know, it is an opportunity like to get in touch with ourselves and share our love. Like, there's so many different ways you can be creative, and you don't have to think about it because you're naturally creative. And when something doesn't feel right, or when something is getting too overcomplicated, or it's just not flowing, that's when you want to take a step back and say, okay, do I need to scrap this? Or am I putting too much pressure on myself? You know, what's going on here? I feel like this is really just a message for you to continue just having more confidence in yourself, because the more you do, the more you, and listen, fake it till you make it, right? And trust what you feel. I feel like if you've been trying to build more confidence and more self-esteem, the key to doing that is trusting your intuition and acting on it. And I feel like one thing that you need to remember as well is that, like I said, creativity is not just about doing art or something like that. It's about anything. We're creator beings. We are designed to create. And you can create anything. You can create a different vibe. You can create a face for yourself that is more confident, that, you know, you can step into until you're ready to merge that face with your true self. You can do so many different things. And I feel like what Spirit needs you to know is that you can handle what's coming your way. And the more you step into your truth, the more you're going to attract opportunities, inspiration, the right people, the right circumstances, and the right experiences for you. And things are just going to flow more seamlessly because you're not putting so much pressure on yourself. You're not overthinking it. And instead, you are just following the flow of what feels right and trusting it. You're doing fine. You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing, sweetie. I'm so proud of you. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, you're so special and so bright and so attractive, and you're gonna do great things. I'm so proud of you. I'm also watching The Sopranos right now, so you're probably gonna get a higher frequency of me talking like this. But we're gonna get into the next question now. But the biggest thing, like, you are strong enough to face your fears. And I'm not going to say don't be afraid, because it is scary to do that. But I'll tell you what, there's no one on this planet that doesn't feel fear, except maybe people that are incapable of feeling. And a lot of times, the people that you see doing things that inspire you, they are scared shitless while they're doing them. They don't, and they're dealing with the same aspects of humanity: imposter syndrome, uncertainty, fear, judgment. But the difference is they're not letting it stop them. They have the courage to face it, and you have that too. And you're gonna do it. You're gonna do amazing things. I just know it. Okay, you're already doing amazing. Are you kidding me? You're already doing amazing things. I'm so freaking proud of you. So proud. Not gonna say the F word again, because probably get in trouble. Okay, now let's see. How does your higher self want to connect with you? So Pile 2's higher self, how would you like to connect with Pile 2 on their human journey more deeply? What would be an effective way for Pile 2 to connect with you, please? We have the Ace of Pentacles. I am always rewarded for what I do. Beautiful. We have a lot of aces, so definitely new beginnings coming. But your higher self wants to connect with you in a couple of different ways. They want to connect with you mainly on through the material reality, through this earth, so through synchronicities, but also through changes that you're feeling guided to make. So, you know, let's say, for example, you're feeling guided to start a new business, or I don't even want to like do business though, like routines. Let's say you're being guided to add something into your routine, like meditation or something that's beneficial to you, right? Maybe it's like going to therapy, or just taking more time out for nature, or taking more time out for yourself. It doesn't have to be a specific thing, but any opportunities to be more rooted in the future you're wanting to create, in becoming the person you envision yourself being. Your higher self wants to be with you through that process of becoming all you know that you can be. And so what your higher self really wants to connect to you through is through moments of presence, whether, and I think that's the thing, is like your higher self is you, but it's the you that is the most wise, the most loving, the most aware, the most compassionate. It's more fifth dimensional, right? And we can bring that into our bodies, and we can be more connected to it some days and less connected to it others. But your higher self wants to connect with you through anything, any positive changes you want to make, and also through any opportunities for you to be more present. And by present, I mean your mind isn't somewhere else, you know? You're here. You're in the present moment. You're feeling your hands. You're looking at your surroundings. You're smelling the scents that are around you. Maybe possibly my beautiful candles that you can use code ASO10 for 10% off on. You're feeling your body. You're feeling the moment. Your higher self wants you to be present with the gift that your life and your experience is, and the gift that the moment brings you, and trusting in that the steps that you take today, you will see the benefits of them tomorrow, the next day. And I feel like another thing a way that your higher self wants to connect with you is just, even if you can't feel them, they want you to know that they're there. And those little hits of action that you're guided to take are your higher self connecting with you. And so when you trust what your intuition is telling you and you take that action, that is a form of connecting with your higher self. And you may not see the wisdom in what your higher self is trying to show you, but you will. And so the more you take that action that just feels right, and it's likely different from what you're used to. It's probably uncomfortable, and being present with that discomfort and being like, this is uncomfortable. I don't like doing this different thing, or I don't know how I feel about doing this different thing, but sticking with it anyway until you can truly say, okay, yes, this is for me, or no, this isn't for me. That is not only helping you trust yourself more, it's helping you ground your highest self into your conscious awareness. And it's also allowing you to build trust with yourself and realize like, oh, I really am a lot more capable than I thought. And oh, Spirit really did have my back this whole time. And oh, like everything is okay. Like I definitely feel like there are a lot of opportunities, like, and I'm sure as I'm talking, you've had things in mind of like changes you wanted to make or things you've wanted to start or create. Like one thing that I'm hearing for some of you, if you've been thinking about like remodeling or redecorating or creating, if you could create a space that is your space, you know, whether it's a corner of a room, a whole room, whatever, or maybe even just making the space around your bed more comforting for you. I feel like there's some guidance here from your higher self around taking the opportunity to have a space that is devoted to your own peace and devoted to your own, like, it's like your own little sanctuary, I guess is the best way I could put it. If you've been thinking about doing that, do that. You know, put things there that you love. If there are things that don't need to be there, take them out, and almost kind of dedicate this space to like, okay, this is my space. This is where I can connect with my truth. This is where I can go to rest and where I can just put the world out of the way for a little bit and be with myself. I feel like a lot of the most rewarding things that you can do is make those small changes that make a huge difference, you know? So whether that's taking a mental health walk every day, or, you know, reaching out to people when you're not feeling great, or reaching out to people when you feel called to because maybe you realize, oh, they really needed to hear from you. This is so many different things, but what it really comes down to is the action that you're taking are the seeds you're planting for your future, and the seeds that your higher self knows will be most aligned with you and bring you the most joy and bring you to where you want to be. And it may not look like how you envisioned it, but it'll feel far more incredible than you ever imagined. And I think this is a beautiful process of you realizing that rewards aren't just financial. You know, rewards are so many different things. Like, I think one of the biggest rewards here is, you know, a more balanced way of being and feeling healthier, feeling clearer, feeling more empowered, and, you know, recognizing the value in just carving out a little bit of time for yourself to decompress or to check in with yourself and to check in with what your intuition is telling you. You know, and sometimes your intuition may not have anything to say, and that might be really stressful to your mind. And trust that if your intuition's not telling you anything, just keep doing what feels right. Just keep doing what feels good. And when your intuition needs to call you, it will. I think that's one of the biggest things is, like, if you struggle to know what, like I said, one thing is you may want to let go of the idea of what the right thing to do is. There isn't such thing, right? Wrong, right? I don't know. I guess it depends on what your truth is. I think it's hard to place things in that kind of binary of right and wrong, but I think a lot of the most powerful rewards that you experience in the near future will come from trusting your higher self, and that's how your higher self wants to connect to you. And also, like, the more you trust that and you see the value that comes from it, the easier it will be for you to continue making those different choices, making those choices that align with you, and seeing the wisdom, being like, wow, like, I really don't feel like you're meant to feel disconnected from your higher self. I feel like this is a process of your higher self grounding even more deeply into your conscious awareness and just making it more seamless for you to just flow with what is right for you, what is true for you, and navigating that with grace in a world that is very chaotic and stressful. But you're already connecting to it a lot. I think, if anything, you could just be less focused on consciously connecting to it and instead trusting what it's been telling you and taking that action and the results that come from that action. That's going to create those powerful moments, those moments of, like, aha, those moments of reverence, those moments of, like, deep appreciation and, like, almost like a humbling of, like, wow, like, this wisdom, like, that I trusted myself with, this wisdom that was communicated to me by my higher self, like, wow, thank you for showing me this, thank you for encouraging me to trust you. Like, you will see it in those moments. And I also wouldn't be shocked if your higher self is bringing you opportunities, and what those opportunities are will be different for all of you, bringing you opportunities to make those necessary changes that are gonna be true for you. And maybe those changes are not physical changes. Maybe they are just changes in how you perceive things. So, you know, for example, like a shift that you may need, maybe you've been thinking you need to work out harder, right? But the reality is, no, maybe you need to shift your perspective of what working out is for you. You know, if you're pushing your body to the brink, if you're punishing your body, you know, maybe that's that isn't a healthy way of looking at your body, right? You know, maybe shifting your perspective and being like, is there a type of movement that I haven't explored that would feel really good? Is there a type of movement that I've been drawn towards that maybe I could figure out? Because I definitely think, like, for example, you know, when you're dealing with that struggle, shedding belief systems is a powerful form of connecting to truth. And oftentimes it's not that we need to work harder or do more or, you know, punish ourselves. It's that we need to give ourselves more grace, more leniency, more forgiveness, and get to the root of what our intentions truly are, so that we can make sure they're loving. You know, it's not loving towards yourself to punish yourself and believe that you have to, you know, deprive or deny yourself. It is loving to move because it feels good. It's loving to move because it's good for your body. It's loving to move in a way that you enjoy so that you're not like just stuck in this feeling of like, oh, I have to do this, but I hate it, you know? You don't have to. You can move in a different way. There's tons of forms of movement. And yeah, I definitely think whatever you're feeling called towards, please do it because you will see the benefits. Like even just yesterday, I did acupuncture for the first time. And when I came out of my session, it was awesome. And I'm afraid of needles, and it was awesome. And the lady at the front desk was like, oh, you're the second person today that's just come out like glowing from a treatment. I'm like, like, and I did feel good. And that is an example of a reward from doing something differently, right? So yeah, that's just an example. Maybe for some of you want to try acupuncture. I would highly recommend, even if you're afraid of needles. I am, and it was fine. I barely felt them. So, okay. Now I want to see guidance for staying aligned with your highest self. You guys are so easy to talk to. Oh my God. Yes. The star. I am inspired and positive about the future. And guess what? Guess what energy or what sign the star is ruled by? Fucking Aquarius. Sorry, I just thought of a really random Aquarius meme that I'm not going to say, but because it would like take me 5 minutes to describe it. But anyway, I'm inspired and positive about the future. This is all about you trusting yourself, trusting your higher self, trusting your inner light, trusting hope, trusting fate, and I was going to say faith, but fate and free will intermix, trusting that those are mixing together beautifully. And just having hope for the future and continuing to make the choices that are loving and healing. You're already doing it. You're already connected to your higher self. Like, you may not feel it, and you may not have, you know, the equivalent of a signal, like a Wi-Fi signal that tells you if you're connected or not, but you don't need that. Your higher self is always connecting to you. The more you open up to it and trust it and have faith in it and in yourself to trust yourself and trust what's coming through, the more you will just be like, wow, yeah, okay, I can do this. Things are working out. Everything's going to be okay. Like, and truthfully, everything is going to be okay. You're doing so great. I'm so proud of you. Okay, let's move into guidance now. We're going to start by looking at stones, a flower, a scent/chakra, and an animal that your higher self may be showing up in, and also the guidance that these cards may have for you. So to start, we have kunzite, love, femininity, transition. As it breaks down barriers surrounding the heart, kunzite offers unconditional love to heal lingering wounds. Kunzite helps you feel safe while being vulnerable, allowing you to express your love authentically and expansively. A highly vibrational stone, kunzite's protection can be used as an energetic shield that surrounds your aura and protects it against emotional vampires and negative influences. The stone aids in feminine rites of passage, from puberty to becoming a mother. Kunzite supports loving your body no matter what phase of life you are in. And we have blue lace agate. I have some right here. I love blue lace agate. Yeah. Peace, gentle, new beginnings. Blue lace agate is your supporting nudge in the right direction, whispering words of encouragement when you experience self-doubt. Okay, so if you are like trying to consciously go within and meditate, I think blue lace agate could be a really great stone for you. I love this stone. I just think it's so beautiful. I think it's, I mean, as you guys can tell, I'm a rock guy, but like blue lace agate, she blows me away every time. It opens your throat chakra and helps ease any blockages in your self-expression. Being seen and heard is a priority. Your feelings are valid and important too. Don't worry about what others think. Release all fear of judgment and get ready to leave behind any thoughts of inadequacy. Blue lace agate encourages you to start anew because every day is a fresh beginning. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And look, I love how these two cards just like match the colors of the stars so well. And you are a star, baby. We have Camellia, destiny. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. And Shakespeare is so right. Like, oh my gosh, I love that synchronicity. Like, you know, your fate is I believe like fate is a combination of free will and the divine plan. But I feel like what you need to know is that you hold the keys to your destiny in your heart and your intuition, and your higher self is helping guide you, and you're doing great. You're doing so well. I'm so proud of you. Your higher self is so proud of you. And I hope, like, you know, I hope that you'll let me know, like, the amazing things that you do, even if I don't get to see it, you know. I want to know about it. I want to hear about it. So, you know, whether it's coming back and commenting on this video or whatever it may be, like, if you want to let me know about it, you let me know about it. You want to come back in the future and be like, I trusted my intuition, do it. I would love to hear. And you know, whether I see it or not, I think just even being able to share it is really powerful. And even if I don't see it, the right people will, and maybe they need to be inspired by you. But hopefully I see it. Okay, we also have oregano, the resin. The right. Okay. Okay, so the theme is resonance. The trigger statement is I am right, and the true statement is I am open to the unknown. You are being shown what is dissonant in your life. Allow the beliefs that are not serving you to fall away and be open to your bright future. So here's the solar plexus coming through, and I was kind of thinking of like solar plexus energy and how like the high priestess, you know, she's holding this book kind of right in front of her lower chakras, specifically the sacral and the solar plexus. So I feel like this is a real call to trust your gut. And when it comes to dealing with confidence, work on your solar plexus can be really helpful, but also to just trust in this. Like, I think one of the most powerful things you can do is just have more confidence in what you're being guided towards. And like that guidance will allow you to just, you'll see the results and you'll be like, wow, I'm so glad I trusted myself. And it's going to get easier and easier. Well, it'll get easier to trust yourself. I don't know if life will get easier. I think life always be bringing us challenges, but it'll be easier to handle those challenges with grace and with a centered perspective that honors both you and your spiritual integrity. Yes, cat. Okay, cat spirit, claim your independence. So cats are definitely significant, and I definitely think this is about you recognizing that your freedom and your sovereignty is of the utmost importance, and your independent perspective is valuable. And just because you don't necessarily see it reflected in the world around you doesn't mean it's wrong. It just may mean that, you know, nobody's had the courage to say it yet, or maybe it's just something that you need, and you need to be able to give yourself more grace and more freedom to just do what is right for you. I feel like you don't need to be, you may feel like you're not ready for what you're being called towards, or you may feel like, you know, you need other people to understand or approve, but you don't. Claim your independence. Your higher self is very independent and very powerful, and just like you, because your higher self is you. So, okay, we're gonna go ahead and finish this reading off. I know I always talk a lot, let's be real. I just love your guys' energy, and I didn't want to stop. I'm just like, oh, this feels so good. Okay, so we're gonna get a card from the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. I love this deck so much. It may be one you want to consider getting. But anyway, pile 2's higher self. Should also mention, if you're a guy or, you know, uncomfortable with the idea of an inner goddess, just know that just you can take it as loving your inner self. Okay, anyway. But feminine energy definitely seems to be highlighted here, and maybe embracing your femininity is important, and recognizing, like, you know, feminine energy is not the same thing as feminine gender expression. You see what I'm saying? And that, you know, when I talk about feminine energy, I'm not talking about expressing yourself in feminine ways. I'm talking about, you know, yin energy, receptive, you know, creative energy. Okay, anyway. Pile 2's higher self. What guidance would you like to leave pile 2 with that could be aligned for them? Okay, what do we have? Ooh, we have Magdalene. Oh, I love this card. I read it all the time because, and did I say that you're stronger than you think? Ooh, and we have 31 and 13, so those could be significant numbers for you. I always think of 3 as the Empress and 1 as the Magician. So those could be energies that you're manifesting with. But yeah, this is a very powerful message. So let's read it. You can experience a feeling of being completely reborn, like a mythical phoenix rising from the ashes of what once was. The past completely burned away. It is not about forgetting the past, but it is the reality that the past doesn't have any hold over you. You are being given a spiritual blessing from deep within your heart to cast off anything and everything without exception that does not bring you peace. The universe wants to take it from you, so let it go. There is now a brand new you. Clean, fresh, and ready to start again with the protective grace of the divine all around you and within you, shining bright and true. The divine feminine spirit in you needs to feel cherished, adored, loved, and worshipped for all that they are, for all that they offer. They have so much love. Well, I'll just say she, but just understand that, like, well, the divine feminine itself is not, the divine feminine is within everyone if we want it to be, but I just don't want anyone who does not feel comfortable with that to feel alienated. So just know, like, if that doesn't make you feel comfortable, just know that the guidance isn't not for you. It's just that you may have to change things to feel right for you. So if you need to change it, do so, but I'm just gonna read it as it says to avoid any more confusion. She has so much love to give from her heart, through intimate sharing of her innermost self, through connection, touch, and the sacred pleasure of her body. She knows that the expressions of love through the body are a sacred gift, of high value and worthy of appreciation and respect. They are not to be demanded or taken for granted, abused or criticized in any way. Some who lack wisdom may try to shame her and judge her gifts of physical love. Some may claim that they are owed her gifts of love and say that she must provide them on demand. Maybe they threaten to withdraw their love otherwise, to harm or reject you, or try to justify their behavior with their rights. Down to, I'm telling you. that word is a theme for you, legal or otherwise. This is always, without exception, unacceptable and a blasphemy against the goddess. You are a sister, brother, or sibling of Magdalene, a priestess of love upon this earth. I'm probably saying Magdalene wrong, but oh well. You are worthy of respect, and you have power to assert your value, your purity, and your grace, no matter what has been or may be, no matter whether others understand or agree with you. You know that dignity is always yours by divine decree. You only need to claim it for yourself, which I think is beautiful and so true. And I love this reading so much. I love you guys so much. If you want to look at the sacred ritual, you can screenshot that if you want to. But pile number 2, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for my channel. But if you would like to do that in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, you can let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to my notification squad. If you'd like me to see your comments, you can hit that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Thank you guys for being here. Obviously, you can also check out my candles. You can check out my, what else? I've been saying fat, juicy ass. You can check out my social media. You can check out my other videos. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Aura-Coded Amethyst Point and the Pastel Journey Tarot, this is going to be your reading on a pep talk from your higher self. So if you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro, but we're just gonna go ahead and get started. I've got 2 oracles already shuffled, and one of these represents the topic that your higher self wants to talk to you about, give you a pep talk about, and the other represents what your higher self wants you to know about this / them. So I'll give this another good shuffle and we'll get right into it. That wasn't a great, that's fine. Okay. Pile 3's higher self. What would you like to talk to Pile 3 about? What aspect of their life would you like to talk to them about at this time? I feel like, by the way, if these first two cards don't resonate, then this reading isn't for you. But I definitely feel like you've been very clenched. I say this sometimes, but and this is no shade at all, but like you might be kind of resonating with feeling like clenched butthole energy right now, and that's okay. I feel like stress does that. Bro, my butthole's been so clenched recently. Don't even, like, it's so normal. We're not judging, but you may be feeling that. So, you know, maybe a couple deep breaths just might be kind of good. Just center yourself in the present, you know, relax a little bit. You're okay. You're here. You're safe. I love you. What does pile three's higher self want pile three to know about them and about this topic? Okay, we'll get the tarot later after we go in more deeply. But let's start by looking at the topic that your higher self wants you to talk about, or wants me to talk about with you. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. Beautiful. And we have service. And what your higher self wants you to know about this is the Three of Swords. And okay, wow, this is, pile three, you and me got a lot in common. But you know, you have a lot in common with everybody here. I can already tell this is going to be a beautiful message. And take a breath. Okay. Your higher self wants to talk to you about, well, obviously service, but about the fact that your perception of service may be a little unbalanced, or you may be wondering, like, what is this leading to? Where am I meant to be? Even if you're already at a place you're comfortable with, like, or happy with, you know, is this where I want to be? Is this right? You may also be feeling like if you're trying to get something off the ground, or if you're trying to expand upon something that you're doing, you may be wondering, like, is this the right time? Am I being led to the right place? And your higher self is saying yes. I think the biggest thing about the Wheel of Fortune and service here is that what your higher self wants you to know is that you're exactly where you need to be, and everything is okay. But once again, and I say once again because I believe a Swords card came out in a different pile as well. And the fact that we have I can change my thoughts here. Your brain is definitely cock blocking you a little bit. And what is it cock blocking specifically? Your ability to listen to your higher self, and also your ability to trust that the universe has your back and that you're being guided to where you need to go. This is a completely understandable position to be in, but I can tell that the past is dictating what you are believing about your future. And your higher self is calling you out on this because those stories aren't true. You know, they may be true about, you know, what you've experienced in your past, but they don't mean that that's what the future is going to be. I mean, the fact that we have the Wheel of Fortune here in service, your heart is leading you exactly where you need to go. And there's beautiful blessings in your future. And, you know, there are highs and lows in everyone's life. And, you know, we can't avoid those things. But where you're at, you know, whether it's a high or a low, is not a metric of your worth or a metric of how well you're doing. It's natural and normal to go through these cycles. And I feel like there's a part of you that maybe believes you almost have to martyr yourself in order to be worthy of having enough or just receiving. And your higher self is letting you know that that's not true. You don't have anything to prove, and you don't need others to prove to you that you're worthy of receiving. I definitely think that there is a wound here around receiving, and it's pretty common. You know, if you're the type of person who will, you know, give the shirt off your back to someone else, but wouldn't think twice about asking for help for someone else. You know, if you can do it yourself, you're independent. You really need to take a look at yourself and say, is that healthy? Is that balanced? Is that fair? Especially, and I'm not saying that you do this, but it can lead to feelings of resentment and the experience of compassion fatigue. when we give of ourselves so much and we don't give or receive in return, give to ourselves or allow ourselves to receive in return. It's a mood. I understand it. But what your higher self is really coming through here to say is that you've got a beautiful path set out here before you, and you're already walking it. The only thing that's making it more challenging and creating obstacles is the fears and the mental blockages that have been getting in your way. I feel like there is a part of you that is still working on healing your heart, and I feel like there is a part of you that is very afraid of putting your ass on the line a little bit and opening up to the unknown. And that's totally normal. The fact that you're even considering it is super badass. But what your higher self is really coming through to say is that your mind is making this process a lot harder than it needs to be. And the best thing that you can do for yourself right now is pay attention to your thoughts and pay attention to how they are shaping your reality, because not only are they creating a sense of imbalance within you, but it's making you harder to flow with the path that you're meant to be walking down in life. And I guess there is no one path we're meant to be walking down, but I know that you want to walk down the path that resonates with your heart. And your higher self is kind of saying, hey, our past pain is definitely dictating how much we trust in our present and the ability to move forward in the future. And what your higher self really wants you to know is that a lot of the changes that you think you need to be making are not what you think you need to be doing. I think what needs to be happening is a shift in perception, one that's more compassionate, one that's gentler. Excuse me. I definitely think maybe the throat chakra could use a little work as well, because I think that painful stories are distorting your perception of truth and the truth of what you're capable of achieving and the truth of where you're actually at and where you're headed. Now, that doesn't mean that your pain isn't valid and that, that your past pain hasn't done a number on you. That's natural and that's normal. But I think that, there's a part of you that's almost anticipating things not working out, almost anticipating things going to shit, almost anticipating, it's almost like you have these self-fulfilling prophecies that things aren't going to work out for you. I guess the best way I could describe it is it feels like, what is the point of trying? What is the point of keeping going if I get hurt again? I feel like there's a part of you that's like, my heart just can't take it, and I understand that. But what your higher self is saying is that we're leading you down this path not because we want you to be heartbroken or we want to lead you to more pain. We're doing this because we want you to feel some of the highs that life has to offer, some of the beautiful things that life has to offer. And you are someone that is so giving and so generous, and that is such a beautiful thing. But you really need to ask yourself how much of that giving is from a place of depletion and from a place of believing that you have to, and from a belief of earning your right to take up space. What is service when it's a disservice to you? I definitely think that your higher self is coming through to let you know that you're doing great. And there are beautiful things coming your way. And in fact, the more giving you are, and I think we know this, the more you receive. Well, maybe you don't. I don't know why I'm assuming that. But, the more you give, the more you receive. But you are a very giving person. And I think that there's a lot that the universe wants you to receive that you've been very uncomfortable with. And the universe is saying, hey, this is going to make you out of whack. This is going to make you feel and create a reality where you're out of touch with your own abundance because you're not letting yourself receive any. And abundance isn't just about money or something like that. Abundance is connected to the infinite flow of love. And you have an abundance of generosity. And I think the universe wants to give some of that back to you. Your higher self wants to lead you to that. But if you block your own blessings, your higher self can't do much. And with this, I can change my thoughts. You know, what comes after the Three of Swords is the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is all about mental rest, healing, reprieve. And I definitely think maybe your brain's been running yourself ragged a little bit and maybe convincing you that you have to do things a certain way, or you have to push yourself to the brink, otherwise you're not working hard enough, you're not doing enough, and that's just not true. I feel like what your higher self wants to encourage you to do is recognize that the universe is not going to ask service of you that impacts your well-being. They are not going to ask you to sacrifice your well-being in order to serve others. You know, the right balance is somewhere in between there, right? And sometimes, you know, we make choices that impact our well-being. You know, whether that is when we do have downtime, free time, you know, giving it away to others because they ask for it. When we do have an opportunity to do something for ourselves, deciding not to just because, well, maybe I shouldn't spend the money, or, you know, I shouldn't indulge, I shouldn't do this. Maybe you should. I really think what you need is more gentleness, more compassion, more care, because you're being led down a beautiful path right now. And the path is already beautiful, and you might be kind of missing out on some of that because you may be beating yourself up and shaming yourself and bullying yourself for things that are unnecessary, things that you need to forgive yourself for, things that you need to remind yourself are in the past. And even though they may come up and they may be uncomfortable and they may be painful, they don't dictate your present and they don't dictate your future. And if they do, to the point where you don't have control over that, you need to get help. And I know that's an uncomfortable thing to hear, but you can't go on just allowing yourself to suffer and allowing your brain to beat you up and not find any sort of help for that. If you can't do it on your own, then you do need help, whatever that is. And if you don't know what that is, you know, ask for the universe to guide you to that sort of help. It doesn't have to be traditional. It can be what's right for you. But at the very least, you cannot give if you don't receive. That's what she said. But anyway, let's go a bit deeper into this. You know, I really think that this is a lot about the fact that you're already on the right path and you're doing amazing things. But I think you're just not seeing how much you're already doing because you feel like it's not enough, or you feel like you're not enough. And I think your higher self is asking you to really ask yourself, what is the place that you're serving from? Is it from a genuine overflowing in your heart? Or is it from a sense of depletion and trying to, like I said, prove your worth and, you know, show others that... I don't remember the fucking order I do these in. Oh well, we're shuffling them. Shuffling and shuffling. Okay. I swore a lot in this video. But you know what? I forgive myself. And if you have a problem with it, maybe you should clear your fucking throat chakra. I don't know. I'm not for everyone. And you're not for everyone either. And so sometimes, you know, we deny ourselves and deny our true selves in order to appease others. And if that's something that you're doing, you really want to ask yourself, is that fair? You know, because it's not. You're not here to be what people think you want to be. You're here to be you and shine what light is within you. And that sounds a lot easier said than done. And I think you know that. But this is a matter of trusting. And also a matter of trusting that the seeds you're planting now, you're going to receive in the future. But I think there's a part of you that doesn't trust the universe to deliver, doesn't trust that, you know, things are going to work out. And I feel like your higher self is saying it is. But your fear and your lack of trust and the past and the thoughts that maybe have been going unchecked are making it a lot more terrifying for you to just relax, go with the flow, unclench your butthole and trust. Okay, so let's look at encouragement on facing this. So Pile 3's higher self, what encouragement would you like to give them at this time? What do they need to hear for their highest good? What encouragement can you give them about, you know, facing their fears and trusting their flow and opening up to the abundance that's rightfully theirs? Yeah, 7 of Pentacles. You've already planted so many seeds. Like, this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know, and this could be related to manifestations, this could be related to anything. But I feel like there's a part of you that's been working really hard and for a while, and you've been building yourself up, building up your reserves and doing your best, but maybe it just feels like, I'm getting this vision of someone that's like trying to crawl out of like a hole, and they get close to the top, and then the hole gets higher up. It's like they feel like they're sinking back down into the hole. And it's like you keep climbing, and then the hole keeps moving up, and up. And I don't know what that means, other than I think that's what maybe you're feeling like. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel is right there. But I think that's the thing, is that you perceive the light not being here. You perceive it being up there. Maybe you feel like you still have to climb to get it, to earn it. You don't. The light's within you. And that light cannot be stolen. No one can take it. It's always within you. And I feel like what maybe you're having a hard time with is just the fact that, you know, on Earth, things don't move at the speed of light. They move at the speed of Earth, and that's a hell of a lot slower. But your higher self is encouraging you to stay patient and trust in the seeds you've already planted and the ones that you're continuing to plant, because harvest is coming. And I think you've already had some harvest. I think you've already had some evidence of, you know, receiving blessings for your hard work, you know, receiving what you deserve. Or I guess deserving this is hard because that comes into like worth and stuff, but you deserve beautiful things. You deserve an abundant life. You deserve to feel good about who you are. You deserve to feel good about your path, and you deserve to serve from your heart. And the universe will do anything. Deserve. Deserve has serve in it. I've never realized that. I was today years old when I realized that. And when it comes to deservingness, you deserve to feel good about receiving and not feel guilty for that, and feel good about accepting help from others and accepting support and accepting that you can't act in a vacuum and that you can't act alone all the time. And what is service if you're only focused on yourself, you know? Well, I mean, obviously not. Like, when you're doing service, you're focused on others. But it's really ironic, you know, you can be so devoted and giving to others, but then when it comes to you, it's like, oh, I'm not worth it, or oh, I don't want to bother them. It's not worth the trouble. That is affirming to yourself that you're not worthy of receiving, and that's not okay. That is a form of self-betrayal, and I think you need to apologize to yourself right now. I will wait. And if you didn't do it, you're only cheating yourself. But with that Seven of Pentacles, what your higher self really wants to say is that everything's fine. Don't worry. You know, this is about patience. This is about maintaining what you've already created and continuing to trust that these, you know, whatever you have been working on will continue to grow. But it requires patience, and also, you know, just trust. Like I said, things don't move as quickly as we would like them to. But I feel like what your higher self is saying is like, you know, just because you can't see 5 steps ahead of you doesn't mean you're stepping off the path. But what it does mean is that it might be a little overwhelming mentally to trust and surrender a lot of that mental anguish when you are in uncertainty and when you don't really know what's happening next and when you're kind of in a limbo position. But that's where faith comes in. And I feel like you need to have more faith in yourself. I mean, you're so capable, Pile 3. Like, I can just tell, but like with these cards, like you're not only are you capable, but you're not meant to do everything in a day. You're not meant to get everything done, and your life is not about just getting things done. You are like a beautiful garden in progress, and there are seeds that are being planted. There are weeds that need to be pulled. You know, there are plants that need to be watered. But you're doing that in the perfect time, in the perfect way. And when something needs to happen, you'll know. And I feel like just a heavy message of stay the course. Keep trusting and keep yourself in check. Well, and by yourself, I mean your mind. and keep that sense of inadequacy that you have with peace and love. Take that and really look at it and recognize it's not the truth. You're not inadequate. You're more than adequate. Is there an opposite of inadequate? Over adequate? I don't know. But what I do know is that you're doing great, and not to worry. Everything is working out. And one thing that I'm hearing too is that you may get some sort of return on certain investments in the future that may come as a surprise to you, or maybe you're expecting them, I don't know. But I think there are certain things that just require your patience. And I'm hearing something else about like a loan being approved. I don't know shit about finances, so like don't trust me on that too much. But if you applied for some kind of loan, I have a feeling that might work out. But you're gonna get what you need, and you're gonna be taken care of. You've already been doing great, and your higher self is saying, this is not about you doing more. It's about you being comfortable with receiving more and not being afraid to make the decisions that allow that to happen. And that can be uncomfortable, but it's worth it. And you will realize how, maybe there's things that you've been pushing away or blocking because you felt like you weren't truly worthy of having it or deserving of it. And I think the universe is saying, no, that's not the truth. Let's change our thoughts so that we can receive and enjoy what the universe wants to bring us. Okay, so let's see what your higher self wants to, and when it comes to your fears, what your higher self wants to say about that. So addressing pile of three's fears, the sense of inadequacy. Oof, okay. We have the Fool. Okay. There's a real message here about taking yourself a little less seriously and having a little bit more fun. I think you put way too much pressure on yourself, which mood. I could take this advice too. But your higher self wants you to know that you don't have to have everything figured out in order to make progress, in order to move forward, And the Fool is also about leaps of faith. And I think that these leaps of faith are about you trusting that when you feel guided to take those leaps, the universe will catch you. I feel like this is also talking about, maybe there are leaps that you took in the past that maybe you didn't feel caught, or maybe you feel like, oh, I made the wrong jump. Sometimes we do that, and that's an important part of the human experience. We have to make mistakes in order to learn and grow, and those mistakes can be super painful and hard. And I think what's really interesting is the girl and the Fool, she looks very similar to both of the women in this service card. And I feel like there's almost a need for you to embrace, both sides of yourself, the giver and the receiver. I'm sorry, I'm immature. But I feel like this is also about not beating yourself up about the past and recognizing that you can anticipate everything that will happen before it'll happen. And in doing that, you're going to prevent life from happening. And you're going to keep yourself stuck in that limbo that you don't want to stay in. And this Ace of Swords kind of wanted to pop out. And so I definitely feel like clarity is coming for you. But I think that clarity comes as you move through your uncertainty, as you take action anyway, as you feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's what sucks. I gotta be honest, I get it. It sucks so much. When you're in, a phase of confusion and you don't know what's happening and you don't know what's going on, and it's not until you kind of move through it that you get that light bulb moment and that aha, and it's like, oh, I see why this had to happen in order for this and then that, and then you make all those connections. But I feel like what your higher self is saying is that you gotta stop denying yourself the opportunity to create and take action because you're afraid of what might happen. You can't anticipate that. And also, if you're doing the inverse and only taking action, maybe doing the same things over and over and expecting different results, or making yourself feel like you're not capable of taking the next steps or moving forward, or surrendering and giving yourself time to rest in order to like keep moving forward. I feel like the universe is saying, you know, that's not fair to you. And I feel like your higher self is really reminding you, like, you don't have to have everything figured out, and you don't have to have anything figured out in order to receive. You don't have to prove anything in order to receive. But I do feel this sense of like anything that can bring a little bit more lightness to your spirit, help you have a little bit more fun, like we already said, unclench a little. I think it could be highly beneficial. But I think your higher self is reminding you, like, you're not meant to know everything. It's impossible. You're a human being. Like, our perspectives are limited. And in your case, I feel like there's a need for you to embrace the fact that you can't know everything, but that what you have experienced, you've learned from, and you've gained wisdom, and you will continue to. Sometimes the universe asks us to take really scary leaps. And maybe those leaps are as simple as, like I said, you know, asking for help, doing something differently, allowing ourselves to receive the same way that we're willing to give. I definitely think your higher self is just reminding you that you're doing great and everything is okay, and there's no reason to beat yourself up. And if you're coming up with reasons, that's what you need to look at. And that's what you need to see as foolish, because it is foolish to beat yourself up for being human. That is anti-human. It's literally anti-social behavior towards yourself. Not right, not fair. You wouldn't do that to someone else, don't do it to you. And I think more than anything, just stop beating yourself up for being fallible. You are. Get over it. Well, that's pretty insensitive. I'm sorry. I shouldn't just tell you to get over it. You are fallible, and that's scary and that's hard. And it's part of, you know, the human experience is recognizing that. But your time is precious, your energy is precious, and your path is precious. And you've learned from your mistakes from the past. I know you have, and you know you have. It's just the residual fear and the conditioning that we hold on to, and that, you know, we can slip back into, especially when, you know, the positive growth that we've made goes by the wayside, or, you know, we get overwhelmed or we forget. I feel like the universe is saying, stop treating your life like there's a rubric, you know, like in school. I don't know if schools outside the US use the term rubric, but, you know, if like a score sheet kind of that a teacher would use to score your essay, or, you know, write the parameters of what the essay should be, or the project, whatever. You don't have a rubric for your life. Stop trying to grade yourself on one. There are no grades in real life. But if I could give you one, I would give you an A, because you're awesome. And I would give your brain an F for being mean to you. And yeah. Be kinder to yourself, please. Everything's okay. And one of the scariest things that we have to do is learn to trust those leaps of faith. But I feel like there's either a new beginning coming for you in the near future, and that's what's being planted, or you've already taken that. But, you know, while most of you may be here in the present, it seems like sometimes your mind slips into the past, and your fears slip you back into the past and lead you to just not trust yourself and not trust your path. And I feel like what your higher self is really reminding you is you're far more capable than you realize, and you can trust yourself. Please believe in yourself, because we believe in you. So speaking of that, I want to see how your higher self wants to connect with you. Obviously, you don't have to do this, but I just want to see, you know, how a spirit... okay, with the Ace of Swords. So I definitely think that this is cutting through the mental BS. You know, mental clarity is very important, and it takes discipline to get there. You know, we got to do things like meditate or take a walk or anything that you can do to clear your head. Oh my God. And you know what's so cool? In every single group, an ace card has come out, but it's been a different card for each one. And so for you guys, it's the Ace of Swords. And so I feel like your higher self wants to connect with you through, one, bursts of insight. So I feel like this is something where it's like, one way that you can connect with your higher self is to do things that allow you to go into a state of mindlessness. You can do that through things like dance, like any movement of any kind that helps you get lost. I find that can happen for me, like when I'm cleaning and I'm just kind of like, not really thinking about anything, but that kind of allows certain things to pop in my head. When you're driving and you're, kind of focused on the road and things like that. Obviously, if you're in a high stress situation, that may be a bit different. But if you can create states of mindlessness, or just mindfulness in the sense that you're not ruminating or letting your thoughts run the show, I feel like your higher self could come through with really beautiful intuitive insights and bursts of like truth that just hit you in your heart, where you're just like, yes, like they will bring you peace and clarity and relief. But also, you can access this through any sort of material that brings more clarity and peace to your heart. So for example, like books that would bring you peace, books that would inspire you, books that would bring you trust, more faith, anyone that inspires you, that you want to listen to. Basically anything that brings you a piece of a sense of peace and clarity. Your higher self wants to connect with you through that. So they'll probably lead you to the right information, to the right people, to the right conversations, and to the right activities that will allow you to clear your mind so that wisdom and insight can come to you. That's something that you're meant to receive. And also, I think one thing your higher self wants to bring you is just more confirmation that you're doing great, confirmation that you're not crazy, you're doing great. There's no reason to beat yourself up as hard as you are. And, there is no, your higher self is not looking down, grading you pile 3. Let's see. Well, they didn't do XYZ today, so we're going to dock a few abundance points, and we're going to not let them receive today. That's not real. That's not a thing. And I think one of the things that you have to remember is that there's nothing to prove. There's nothing that you need to convince the universe of. It's almost like you just need to convince yourself that you're capable of doing what your heart is asking you, and you will understand why when you have the courage to do that. I feel like your higher self also is encouraging you to cut out things that lead to more uncertainty and confusion in your life. So, whether that is activities that lead to a state of imbalance, that lead you to a state of overwhelm, or, falling back into old patterns and habits. And when you do that, don't beat yourself up for it. That's not helping anything. But be present with it and be like, okay, we're doing this thing. How do we feel about it now? What is this trying to satisfy? And really just ask yourself. And the next time you go to make that decision, you'll remember the last time because you were present with it, and be present with yourself in that moment. And just see if you're ready to choose something different. And if you're not, don't beat yourself up for it. Nothing good comes from that. And I feel like you've been selling yourself short and really cutting yourself off from your own wisdom, your own guidance, just because you've been expecting yourself to do it all on your own. And it's not your job to do everything all on your own. It's not your job also to determine what you're worthy of receiving. I think the universe can do that. And yeah, you might also connect with your higher self through conversations with others. Or honestly, if you just want to talk to them and just say out loud what you're thinking, what you're experiencing, if you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you're fearful, just talk to them and just speak it to the void. Sorry, I didn't mean to move you around, but yeah, all those examples are ways that you can connect with your higher self. There are plenty of opportunities to do so, but I think that your higher self wants to connect with you through aha moments and moments of clarity and moments that reinforce the fact that you're not only on the right path, but you're doing great, and you can believe in yourself even more than you already do, and you can trust yourself to move through whatever challenges you face, and you can trust that everything is working out for your highest good. Okay, so now I want to see guidance for staying connected to your higher self. So Pile 3's higher self, how can they stay connected to you? Woo, that flew. We have the 7 of Wands, which I love. That's beautiful. This kind of reminds me of Kill Bill. But anyway, this is all about fighting the things that disempower you, and having the courage to face the resistance that you feel to taking the action, and having the belief system that will empower you to live in your highest good. There are going to be times where you feel resistant to being kind to yourself. There are going to be times where you feel resistant to making the choice that honors you because you're denying your people-pleasing parts. There's going to be times where you feel uncomfortable with saying no, but that's why you have to do it anyway. It takes strength. And I feel like with the 7 of Wands here, so 7s are really important, and 7s are a spiritual number, and they're an individual number. And I think that in order to stay connected to your highest self, you have to fight and push back against, like I said, what disempowers you, and also whatever puts you back in a position where you feel like you're stuck in the hole again. And also, if part of your fears are backlash from others, or people getting upset at you, or anything like that, that is all the more reason why you need to choose yourself, and all the more reason why, you need to make sure that you feel good about, or you just need to make sure that you're reinforcing, your inherent value because you're a person, reinforcing that you just deserve to take up space. You have the right to take up space. You have the right to be in this world. You have the right to share your voice, to shine your light, and to share that gift with others. And nobody has the right to tell you what to do with it, even me. Anything I say that you don't resonate with, just throw it in the garbage. You have the right to determine what you will and won't accept, what is and isn't for you. And sometimes it may be uncomfortable to make the choice that you know is right for you. But that's why you have to have courage and just trust. And when you feel yourself getting stuck in your head, in your thoughts, and your past, in fear, you fight it. And you don't have to fight it physically. You can fight it with positive affirmations, or, doing something to change your energy and feel good, I think that dancing like a hooligan when no one's watching can be one of the most fun and freeing things. And if you haven't danced like a hooligan in a long time, maybe you need to do that. Like there are ways to fight things, not with force, but with surrender. But I think that at times, gathering your inner reserves and making the choice that honors your heart rather than honors your fear is really going to help you stay aligned with your highest self. And there are going to be times where people are resistant to you doing that. And that's because they benefit from you betraying yourself. And so when that happens, you need to have the courage to say no and recognize that they have the ability to do what works for them. And if they don't want to do that, that's their choice. But their responsibilities are not your problem. And you're not meant to be a martyr for people. Martyring is not healthy or good for you. And I think that your higher self knows that and really just wants to remind you that, sometimes we have to fight for peace. And sometimes, we have to stand up against what is pushing us and holding us down. And that can be uncomfortable, and it can be scary, and it can be hard. But you're capable of doing it, and it's worth it. You are a fighter. And I know that you can handle this. And when you have those moments where you feel like you can't do it, where you feel scared, call in Archangel Michael. He is a wonderful support to have. Or, you know, call someone that you love and trust to give you encouragement as well. That can be something too. But don't give up. Don't stop fighting. And when you get knocked down, if you need to wait before you get back up, take a moment, do it. Just as long as you get it back up at some point, you'll be just fine. Okay, so now I want to look at how your higher self... Oh, and by the way, can I just say, you're doing great. Like, there's no reason to beat yourself up. And I feel very, like, chill in this reading and almost just, like, soft. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good word for me, but I feel like you need to know, like, everything is... You're doing great. Please don't be so hard on yourself. Please. And also just recognize that, like, you're not here to give yourself away to everyone else. You're here to live a balanced life where you not only get to experience who you are and discover that through the unfoldment of your life path and the expansion of yourself, but also, you know, in doing that, you will find the ways you serve most effectively if you haven't found them already. And even if you found them, you will refine how you serve and how you give to others and how you give to yourself. And it will get easier. But you will grow and you will change, and life is always a little confusing. I don't think we ever fully have it figured out. I don't think we're supposed to. But that's okay. And that's where having faith in yourself is so important. I have faith in you, and I hope that you have faith in yourself too, because your higher self has faith in you. The universe has faith in you. The only thing that doesn't have faith in yourself is the past pain and conditioning that other people made you believe was your reality and was the truth about you. And it's a goddamn lie, I'll tell you that much. And it's bullshit, and you don't have to listen to it. And I would encourage you to reject any and everything that doesn't align with your heart, that doesn't make you feel good, that doesn't make you feel inspired, that doesn't make you feel hopeful, because you don't need it. A lot of people think that their quote-unquote constructive criticism is necessary. Most people don't even know what that is. I'll tell you that much. But you don't need criticism. You need compassion, you need support, you need understanding, and you need love. And I feel like I've been a little bit critical in this, and I apologize for that. I do morph into whatever energy I am channeling, but I also am very critical of myself. And so, you know, if it's in me, I'm in danger of passing it on to you. So, you know, even I. So I'll make a promise to you right now. Pinky promise. I promise to deal with my inner critic. Keep her in check. I almost called her something not nice. Keep her in check if you promise to do the same. Okay? Pinky? Or pinky swearing? Okay. Thank you. We're going to do that. And I'm proud of you for doing that. It's not easy, but you don't need more criticism. And I'm sorry if you felt criticized or judged in any way in this reading. That's never my intention. And I love you. Okay. So let's now look at some crystals, a flower, a scent / chakra, and an animal that your higher self are showing up in, and also what guidance your higher self has through these. So the first crystal we have is red jasper. Red jasper works closely with the base chakra and heals any wounds surrounding injustice, grounding you back to earth. Red jasper alleviates chronic worry, clearing mental blockages to make space for balanced emotions and thoughts. Working with the base chakra, the red jasper can also help you heal issues related to sex, inviting you to explore your sexuality in healthy ways. Maybe that's what she said wasn't that off point. Providing stability and protection, red jasper balances yin and yang, expressing masculine and feminine energies that feel safe yet nourished. And we also have rainbow obsidian. Within the darkness, there is always light. When rainbow obsidian's dark exterior is exposed in light, colorful bands highlight the stone's beauty. Rainbow obsidian is a gentle stone, showing you unhealed matters of the heart and bringing hidden wounds to the surface for ultimate healing. Rainbow obsidian takes you on a journey of evolution, of opening your heart and discovering your true purpose in this life. Able to assist in cutting cords, rainbow obsidian floods you with light and love, forgiving yourself and others in the process. I think that's beautiful. And also makes me feel a lot better because I feel like I probably hit the nail on the head of what I was supposed to talk about. I hope so. You can let me know. But okay, let's look at what else. We have the flower gladiola, strength of character and moral integrity. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. And Helen Keller said that. So yeah, I feel like when you're saying like, why does it have to be so hard? Why does it have to be challenging? Well, first of all, everybody has challenges. It's hard for everyone. I don't think there is a person it's easy for. Even the people that it seems that they have it easy, there could be things that weigh on their soul. You never know what people are going through. And I feel like one of the biggest things that at the very least you can tell yourself and remind yourself is, no matter how hard things have gotten, you've never truly lost your heart. And even if you have, you've always found it. And I know that if you've ever done something that was against your heart, you've made it right, or you've been considering that, which I feel like you should. Well, whatever making it right means to you. But I do think that you have a very strong character, and there are things that you won't sacrifice, and I think that's a good thing. But one of the things you do need to sacrifice is the imbalance around giving and receiving, period. We also have the root chakra once again. And we have the theme of anchor. The trigger statement is, I am not ready for what comes next. And the true statement is, I take it one step at a time. Yes, in the words of our Savior, Jordan Sparks. Although things are shifting so quickly, be present and know this is part of a greater plan. Absolutely. Everything is just fine, I promise. You're doing great. And finally, we have the antelope spirit. Life is speeding up. So I definitely feel like you're coming out of this limbo phase for sure. The number 2 seems to be very significant. 2 weeks could be a significant timeline. But also, yeah, I feel like the more you jump into the unknown and the more actions you take to do things that you know in your heart you're ready for, even though it feels scary, I feel like that can be helpful. But I also just feel like the more you ground and the more you trust yourself and the more you just settle into the reality that what is meant for you won't miss you, and you are not only worthy of receiving, but the more you open to it, the more you will, I think the easier it will be for you to flow, and you'll realize like, oh, I was fine this whole time. Like the problem wasn't me or me doing something wrong. It was just unhealed wounds coming to the surface, like this says, that's still making it hard for you to trust yourself and see how badass you are. But you're gonna see that. I know you are. And if you don't already, you should. And I mean it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and finish this reading off with a guidance card from the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. I think that this is a great self-love deck. Even if you're uncomfortable with the term inner goddess, just take that part away, because there are messages in here that everybody needs to hear. So doesn't matter who you are, this message is for you, especially if you got this far. Thank you, by the way. Pile 3, Spirit. Oh, Pile 3. Pile 3 is higher self. What guidance do you have for Pile 3 at this time when it comes to loving themselves and moving forward on their path? And that's the thing. When you get stuck in your head, that's when you need to ground. That's when you need to get in the present moment, because it helps. And one of the best things that you can do to ground is to breathe deeply. So if you catch yourself breathing really shallowly, or your breathing is chaotic, that's when you maybe want to do some breathing exercises, or just do a couple deep breaths, because it forces you to get in your body, and that is a form of grounding. So we have medicine wisdom. Okay, let's see what that has to say for you. The Earth Mother agrees to support your wants and needs, to help you live your best life and fulfill your dreams. Her generosity, I just love this, I knew it. Her generosity and her power to assist you is beyond what you can imagine. She is already leading you towards your sacred life purpose, providing exactly what is needed for your soul to blossom, just as she creates what is needed for the flowers of the earth to bloom. This is confirmation that you are on your sacred path. I told you. It may take some twists and turns, but you are headed in the right direction, and you are being supported in all ways to gain all the experiences and blessings that are meant for you. You're a wild person. You have the natural gift of medicine wisdom and the healing way of the sacred feminine. The soul wisdom and healing ability comes from Mother Nature. Her seasons and weather, her landscapes and the particular life that they support, including her animals, plants, and crystals, all have their own unique purpose and healing power. Learning to recognize the signs, to feel for their meaning, to listen for guidance, and to activate the medicine wisdom in yourself and your life is your training as a true medicine person of the soul. Listening, intuiting, feeling, experiencing, trusting, these are the ways you begin to tap into and harness the grace, beauty, and power of the sacred feminine for healing purpose. When you live your life from a place of playful connection, there's that Fool. Reverence and gratitude for the divine feminine. She will love you and empower you to accomplish things that you could never do on your own. She's an infinitely practical divine being, able to help you with every aspect of your life on earth and I can't read. She's an infinitely practical divine being, able to help you with every aspect of your life on earth and through you to help others too. She is asking you to trust her, let go of logic, or believing that you have to accomplish all on your own. What did I say? What did I say? Let yourself be in creative partnership with the divine feminine, with Mother Nature, and as your earthly cares are provided for with ease and grace, you can dedicate your energy to focus to discovering and expressing your talents, which is how you fulfill your life purpose. And so there's a little sacred ritual here that you can do. If you want to screenshot that and do that for yourself, I could say it for you, but I think it's more powerful if you do it yourself and you hear it from yourself. So accept your calling as a true medicine person of the soul, supported on all levels by the powerful grace of the divine feminine, and trust that Mother Nature is speaking to you daily, showing you the way of fulfillment, happiness, and peace for yourself and all beings. So beautiful, just as beautiful as you and your beautiful soul, in the words of Jesse McCartney. So pile 3, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is one of the ways that you can help me receive, and that's one of the simplest ways to do that. I have issues with receiving as well, so I try my best to, not be too overbearing with that stuff. So thank you guys for your support and for helping me with that. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video. That's incredibly helpful. Thank you to everyone who does that. You can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASA10 for 10% off. You can check out my merch. You can check out my social media. You can check out my other videos, ones with extendeds if you want. Those are really fun. We get really chaotic in those. If you like me swearing and talking about dirty crap, the extendeds are for you. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I love you guys so much, and I just pray that your path continues to unfold in the perfect time, in the perfect way, and you go a little easier on yourself and trust yourself more. I believe in you, and you should believe in you too. So I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you guys will come back and see me again soon. Bye!